Hello, and welcome to another VOD review of a Duckling. This one was kindly provided by Nightmare Phoenix, who's hanging out here in chat tonight. Um, and this one's specifically focusing on entrance floor shuffle flags. So before I get into the VOD review, I did just want to quickly go over the flags and kind of give my thoughts on them. I did provide this flag set, so I'm very familiar with it, but I did want to just kind of give an overview and like some of the things that stand out when you're dealing with entrance floor shuffle. So, nothing of note here. Okay, so first thing of note is that with random formations on, which is B-sides trap tiles, which basically means that there's going to be more difficult trap tiles available. Um, Definitely something to keep in mind here, as that can make the early game more difficult if you get stuck behind a difficult trap tile in like ordeals or something. No loose. Basically everything but marsh locked on. I don't like marsh lock being on because it means you have to double dip marsh, which is a pain in the ass. Hey Roxalot, how's it going? This is some entrance floor shuffle shenanigans, so we're gonna do a VOD review of Nightmare Phoenix here. Marsh locked is a pain in the butt because you have to go back once you get the key, but without it off, that's why it's off. Ship bridge opens up quite a number of entrances from the beginning, but no outside the inner sea. So we're guaranteed to have access to 3 towns right off the bat, and that's something we can use to our advantage. All the good items because Duckling flag set. Okay, so we just have vanilla entrance floors. If Towns is shuffled in, it makes it much more difficult. If Deep Topher's on, it makes it somewhat more difficult. Allow unsafe start. This flag people aren't really familiar with, but basically it means there's at least 3 safe locations amongst these core entrances. So that means that you're pretty much guaranteed to get a couple low-level locations slash chests early to help you get started. So note that when this is on, it does mean that checking Canaria Castle, Dwarf Castle, Temple of Fiends, Matoyas, and Provoca, you really should want to check them early rather than go south because there's guaranteed to be some nice stuff there. Boss scaling is kind of HP is definitely a little bit higher, but boss stats not too bad. And then weapon bursting on EXP is pretty good. So everything else is allowed, and that's pretty much the only thing I note. Half black belt crit rate is the only last thing. So yeah, with that, let's get to the VOD review. Switching. Let's make this full screen. Let's get the playback speed up. We're going to start a little slower and then we'll speed up as we go. And boom, let's transition that. So, um, yeah, let's get started. So before we get going here too much, I did want to comment on the party comp. So let's see if this is the party comp. Yeah, so this looks like the party comp that you're going to go with. So let's go back to it. Um, Nightmare, is there anything that you want to say? Like, why did you pick this party comp or anything like that? Uh, I kind of have some thoughts on it, but I did want to kind of hear what you were thinking about when you picked this as well. I have some thoughts. Oh, I gotta remember to pause the frickin' VOD. Holy smokes. Usually run fighter and mages. Okay, so good things about this party comp. So black belts are can be a good way to get through, especially clamped HP bosses. Fighter, we're gonna be opening up. We don't necessarily need to open any boxes in this flag set, so fighter may have some trouble getting gear. However, because the weapons are so good, the fighter is basically guaranteed to get something. So fighter also pretty reasonable here. Um, okay, black belt for practice, that makes sense. Yeah, so one problem with this party comp is that it sucks at running, and running is really important in entrance floor shuffle. So there's a couple different ways that you can get your quote unquote run quota. If you want to have a party that's pretty good at running, basically it's have a thief or have 2 black mages. Um, in this case, it hits neither, so this is going to run basically at the same level as like a fighter rainbow or slightly worse than that, as the black belt at early levels is not that great. So there's going to be that issue, and that's going to both slow you down but also make things more dangerous because not being able to run in the high level dungeons you might hit early is a big problem. Magic wise, this also only has a single black caster, which is going to make things a little bit more risky. I do like having both a black mage and a white mage in entrance floor shuffle because it guarantees access to warp and exit if they're available early. Yeah, I ended up with that issue a bit. Yeah, for sure. So having access to warp and exit is super, super important in entrance floor shuffle because it speeds up things a ton. The worst thing is when you hit the bottom of a really deep dungeon and you hit Matoya or you hit Elf Castle, and then you turn in your item and then you gotta walk all the ways out. So having guaranteed, like if exit is at level 3 white only, you can get completely destroyed if you don't have a white mage. So for all these reasons, generally my preferred party for entrance floor tends to be Fighter Oreo. I think Fighter Rainbow is okay, although it has a little bit of a run problem. You could also run Fighter Thief Red Black or Black Belt Thief Red Black or Black Belt Oreo. I think all of those are valid depending on the EXP scaling and what key items. But because the key items are so good for the fighter here, I definitely have no problems. Like, you do not need to open a box. This is the fighter's endgame gear. Like, literally 4 of these 5 is the fighter's endgame gear. So I think Fighter Thief Red, Fighter Thief White Black, or Fighter Black Black White would be solid. This double melee comp is gonna probably hurt you more than it's gonna help you. Although I don't think it's like the end of the world. This is definitely doable. So that's a long-winded party comp explanation or party comp overview. But as I said, this is definitely winnable. Something that we'll have to see is if you keep both of them up. I'm assuming, okay, you're gonna keep both. I'm almost positive you're gonna keep both of them up. But like more veteran runners, what they'll do is if they find a good grind tile, they'll down the fighter with this comp and keep the black belt up. And if they don't find a good grind tile, they'll just run the fighter and down the black belt, and then the black belt just casts like white shirt for the rest of the game. So yeah. Oh, you're saying you opened some boxes, so there's gonna be some spoilers about what I'm gonna be seeing. So we're gonna play it at 1.75 speed through the early, maybe 1.5 speed through the early game, like just when we're checking the initial shops, and then we're gonna speed it up to 2 times once we actually start diving the dungeons. Okay, and I think you should get started any second here. So once again, I will highlight here, my general time I'm looking to get out of here is about 42 seconds. So we'll see how much slower we are here. Right off the bat, why are we checking the weapon shop? I don't know if people have seen my previous VODs, but me and weapon shops have interesting relationships. Um, Basically, weapon shops don't exist unless there's like elite gear in it. Unless there's either elite gear or there's no magic at level 1. But we haven't even checked magic yet. So we don't know if there's no magic. If we have magic, we will basically never be swinging because we'll just kill everything with magic. Um, so yeah, that's just a note. And yeah, tracking entrances on papers. Interesting. We'll have to see how your entrance tracking goes. I will give a couple like tips about entrance tracking once we kind of get into it a little bit. But for now, suffice to say that the key to entrance tracking is to be able to keep a mental map. So I guess if you're newer, you can um, just track every single entrance. But what I do once you get a little bit more experience is kind of mark off continents as I go and only keep notes of things that I've missed within that continent or things I have to go back for. Um, so yeah, I was hoping for something to use to smack with because I'm used to brute forcing things. Yeah, for sure. It's not. It's just a really, really common newer player mistake because Magic is so broken compared to vanilla in this that you just don't need those weapon shops to the same extent as if you don't have. Oops. If you don't have these broken spells. So, okay, White Magic here, Invis 2 and Ruse are definitely both buyable. And also, big note here, I'd be writing this down on my notepad. Ruse is Knight learnable and so is Invis 2. So those are both really important. We'll have to see if you come back for those. But Ruse on the Knight is really good if you don't have the defense sword. Black Magic, really solid. Obviously, you're going to pick up Ice 3 here. Fast. Yeah, and Quake is optional, but I think it's probably worth a pickup here. Yeah, nice. Okay, good spell buying. Oh yeah, so is that Kaldaka? No, who is that? I can't read it. Shadows, maybe? Um, Bruise equals no need for defense sword. Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah, buying a couple tents. So when you go to the first item shop, the things you're looking for are save items. Then you want to buy a save item or two, maybe. And if there's heal pots or not. Remember, in Canaria, there's always guaranteed to be softs, pures, and softs and pures. Yeah. So you don't need to check for those, but what you are checking for is save items and heal pots. So these weapons all do nothing. Not only is checking weapon shops bad, these weapons are all terrible. Like, absolutely atrocious. Like one attack, holy smokes, it's bad. So yeah, but whacking things, I understand where you're coming from. Like vanilla, definitely good idea. Hey Kadaka, how's it going? I offered no good info. Okay, so really quick, I wanted to run these like kind of alongside, but I just want to quickly show. Oh, this is my live stream. That's not what I want to show you guys. How do I? There we go. I just want to quickly show my Canaria routing. So we go into Canaria. This seed is different because we're in the Duckling Weekly, so I'm checking the weapon shops. And then we hit the white magic because we want to see if the red mage can learn Fade. We hit the black magic shop to if the white mage if to make sure we don't learn nuke, and then we go back to the white magic shops to pick up the white magic if we need anything after. So in this case, I don't. After that, we walk straight down, check the item shop. Yeah, sorry, I'll fix this. We'll be okay once we go back to YouTube. So I check the item shop, leave through the right, go back in, and then go here. And 44 seconds. And this is including a weapon shop visit. So yeah, so that's always my routing. You can, depending on if you have a red mage or not, you can go white black or black white, but that's pretty much what I want to say. So 45 seconds or so versus 350. So yeah. Note number two: entrance floor shuffle only, but you should always check Canaria Castle first before you go into town, because if you get a bunch of gold, it prevents you having to double dip Canaria. So if this was like mermaids, you can open all the boxes, get a bunch of gold, and then not come back. So when you're doing entrance floor shuffle, always check Canaria Castle first. Don't do it, like don't go kill Tia here, but just check it in case um, there's free boxes. Worst case scenario, that this has happened. Worst case scenario, there's an encounter on the first step. You take that step, and you get an encounter and die. But that happens so rarely, the benefits are definitely worth it. Carry is weak to status, like Confuse and Touch. Yes. Oh, that's Septimus. Yeah, of course Septimus is giving good advice. Yes. Lich is low. Lich has low MDef, so I'm assuming he's talking about Quake. Okay, so taking some fights. But see, once again, here's where I talk about weapons not mattering, right? Sure, you punch them down, but if you have Ice 3, your Ice 3 is going to kill them all anyways. Also, our Duckling class is getting more advanced, so immediately off here, I'm seeing 2 encounters at low encounter rate. That probably means I should be burning 2 encounters every single time, and then soft resetting, because almost certainly, yeah, this third run is huge, which means that you can definitely encounter manipulate that to your advantage. So that's like something we'll see if you do. If you don't, that's not the end of the world. But like right off the bat, my brain is telling me, hey, I just got 2 quick encounters. I probably have a long run somewhere, and we just found it on the third one. And like I was talking to DVS, I did a race against him like I don't know a week or two ago, and I saved like 20 or 30 minutes in entrance floor shuffle by using encounter manipulation compared to him. And he's a pretty good player. He just didn't find the encounter manipulation on the third. It's huge in entrance floor shuffle, especially with no loose, because you just want to like fly down the floors. And if you're always taking 2 fights versus your opponent is getting to the bottom with no encounters on multiple like single or double floor places, it makes a huge difference. Yeah. So okay. So Septimus is pointing out like this is cardiac grassy question mark, but like anywhere that you can clear is just like nothing. That's at the end of the day. Like once you've cleared it, it's just is like dead. It doesn't matter what was there unless it's a town, but because town shuffle's not on, we don't care. If you haven't cleared it, say you found Matoya or Elf Castle, it's super super important you write it down. Also things to note are in town shuffle, make sure you're writing down Melmond. In this, make sure you're writing down like Canaria Castle because when you find the princess, you need to go back. So basically anything that you need to come back for, you need to be writing down. But otherwise, I just write down things as like nothing, or once you get more advanced, you can just like take no notes for places that you've cleared that are in areas that you've marked off in your head. I like the decision to go to Provoca before going to Matoya. If you find Warp or Exit, it could save you a ton of time. Okay, so let's see. Question in quat. Question in chat. Do we kill the pirates now, or do we go get spells? Not what do you think Nitemare should do, but what should we do? Um, I'll see what people say in chat, but we'll continue. Okay, Nightmare's checking spells first. Okay, why do we kill Bicky first, Kaldaka? Yeah, good, right. We kill unless buffed because we can kill it for money, exactly. And they are not killing us, like 0% chance they kill us. We just cast Ice 3 and win. So some notes of here. We have life, night learnable. So that is 100% like writing down, or in my case, remembering. But for you guys for now, probably writing down. Life, night learnable. Come back for it. Huge, 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 huge thing to remember. Once again, no need to check weapon shops. Kaldaka is like crying all over this checking weapon shops again. But yeah, we don't want to be checking weapon shops. We don't need any weapons. We have Ice 3. Like, I guess our white mage might actually swing that white hammer because white mages are bad, but ideally it should be like using a caster item or using anything other than swinging a silver hammer +5. So because you shop first, you save, but reality is you're level 2 already. I hope. I hope you hit Canaria when you got level 2, but you're level 2 already. You already have level 2 spell magic, but you only need one level 1 spell charge. So Ice 3 is going to kill this, so no need to save before you come here either. Ice 3 is safer, but like it doesn't matter. Okay, we will commence the speeding up soon. Oh, we went with Zap. Worried of a wipe though. So what are you worried that the pirates are going to do to you? Hmm. I guess so, but like they'd have to basically be 9 back-to-back pirate punches your back row fighter with or back row black mage with a 12.9% chance, and even then I don't think you wipe. So okay, armor shop really important. Let's take a look at this. Um, in entrance floor shuffle, it's really important to get some early armor. Oh, okay. But see, imps can roll spells. Pirates can't when they're unbuffed. So pirates are guaranteed to be melee only. That's why it's safe. I agree with your precaution with imps and anything on the overworld, but pirates guaranteed to not have spells if they're safe. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good comment though. Okay, so armor. Armor is really, really important in entrance floor because you're going into way more dangerous places than you are normally, much earlier, which means every bit of absorb counts, especially if you're going into somewhere at a really low level. So these wood +4s are fantastic. So hopefully we pick them up. I would also pick up that iron +3 shield for my knight, and I would keep a note of these pro rings, although they're kind of garbage. But death protection is OP. So okay, buying the iron shield. Iron helm's not worth it. This wood armor is really good though. It's whatever. For absorb, I wouldn't even be worth spending $400 on, but so yeah, good stuff. And now we go and save and get out of here. Okay, so same piece of advice that I've been giving to a bunch of ducklings, which is that when you're using inns, you always want to reset out. The reason is because when you reset, or like hard reset or soft reset, doesn't matter, after using an inn, you're going to spawn outside, so it saves you the walk down. It's much faster. Okay, this is okay. I'm okay with taking a small fight here, or like a little mini grind, just to get a couple levels or something, but something of note, you have Ice 3. If you find like Waterfall or other enemies right off the power cycle in like Matoya's cave, that's going to be way better grinding than doing this. Something that's important to note, um, something that's important to note is that um, when you have entrance floor, you have access to early game dungeons way earlier, which means grinding right at the beginning of an early game dungeon by just power cycling and then checking the first encounter is really nice. Because you can just check, especially when it's like, I don't know, 10 steps in or whatever it is on this seed. You can check 10 steps in, see if it's like eyes or if it's sharks or whatever. Like, see if you can find a decent thing that you can kill, and then you can get way more levels than doing overworld. So, even like peds aren't as good in this type of flag set because you can just go to those high level areas anyways. So, general, where are we going? Are we just killing some enemies around here. Okay. I mean, if you want to, so I like the idea. Things are dangerous in entrance floor. Oh, you got lost. Okay, that's fine. Things are dangerous in entrance floor. We want to kill some stuff to get some levels so we're not so dangerous. Great. But it's all about how can I be efficient. And remember, Ice 3 is a pretty powerful spell. Zap kills anything in the game except for Chaos. Um, so there's better ways to get levels than like pop grinding. Like Bridge of Destiny. If you find sorcerers, like Mudgull sorcerers, first encounter Bridge of Destiny, that's like probably 2 or 3,000 experience a pop. Um, a pop. Ironic because we're at the pop grind, but that's not a bad thing. So pop grind is pretty. It's okay with the spells you have. Ice 3 will take care of giants. Fire 2 will take care of the zombills. Um, yeah. Anyways, you successfully tried the pop grind. Okay, let's get up to 2 times speed here. But yeah, taking a couple levels is not the end of the world, but try and take those levels efficiently. So, a couple other notes about preparing for entrance floor. Entrance floor is all about preparation and clearing things as you go, as best you can. By clearing things, I don't necessarily mean opening all the chests. I mean being able to get to the bottom or whatever is important there. So things of note are making sure you buy your heal pots, your tents, your softs, your pures, getting armor, buying your spells, and yeah, get through it to avoid a double dip. Buy your spells, and also prioritize getting to Elfland a little bit earlier than perhaps you would normally. I'm okay with checking Matoya here first, but if Elfland has warp or exit, it's going to save you so much time in case you accidentally end up somewhere deep. So like here at level 8 with some money, I might consider checking out Elfland even before going to Matoya's because the routing difference is minor, but the time save that you get if you get exit or warp before you check Matoya's is huge. So like exit warp, super, super, super important in entrance floor. This is really scary. I definitely would have gone back into Provoca here to save, but maybe you're going to go to Canary instead. Remember, anything can have anything, and you have not yet confirmed that the seas are safe. Like these guys could have cremate, these guys could have anything terrible. Okay, we're going to Provoca. Okay, this is fine. We save. Okay, if we're going to shop, we should shop first and then save. Okay, silver plus ones. That's not bad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like this. Good stuff. Okay, the one thing that you probably want to do on that dip there, um, is okay, cool. Yeah, if you self-corrected, that's really good. One thing you want to do there on that dip there is probably stop by like 40 tents, 30, 40 tents, and 99 heal pots, 10 pures, and like 3 softs. Just so that way you have that and that way you're set, because you're going to be diving a bunch of dungeons here. Much faster if you're going to go to Matoya to sail the boat than it is to, yeah, buy consumables early when you can afford them. When you can afford them, that's the key thing. But tents for like 30 bucks. Okay. So this is where the thing I was talking about before really comes into play, where if you have warp, this dungeon is so much faster and so much safer than if you don't have warp. So checking Elfland before going to Matoya, in entrance floor shuffle in particular, is not a bad idea if you don't have exit or warp. If you have exit or warp and like nuke, screw it, just go. But if you're missing warp or exit, going to Elfland first with money and levels is not a bad idea. Another thing I often do, especially in this situation, is I would not save before I check the entrance. I would I would check the entrance. If it's something, I save outside and then go back in. If it's nothing, I just reset back to Canaria. But yeah, so sail here instead. It's faster. You skip bridge boss. Make sure you save outside and consider checking exit warp earlier than normal at Elfland because of the time save in entrance floor. Are we going to do this? Okay, so you go ahead and save. Good. So we have 4 tents. No heal pots, no pures, no softs. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, having canoe doesn't really change that much. I mean, yeah, it opens up Crescent Lake, but I still like to clear locations as I go, generally speaking. Uh, so you have no heal pots. This is definitely just a reset right now. Yeah, okay, cool. Now are you gonna go back in? Nope. That's fine. Finding the reset button is an important step. Okay, so we walked up there. We decided it was ordeals. We were going to try it. We decided it was bad, and then we died. And then we walked all the way back down. So the options that you could do for time save there is you could wait until you check Elfland. You could say, this is too hard for me, I'm just going to reset. Or you do what you did, which is fine. Like, honestly, you saved, you hit a wall, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to leave. And that's okay. But going there by foot and then going to Dwarf Castle or Dwarf Cave by foot instead of just using the ship is much slower. Yeah, no, it's all good. Uh, yeah, I keep in mind, I'm not like, it's not really judging or like, I'm not like upset or like think you're garbage. I'm just trying to give like things you can do differently to save a bunch of time. That's fair. But you can basically kill anything or just run. I guess your party has a little bit of a problem with running, but yeah. Okay, we're getting into scary territory here. So once again, check the entrance. If it's something you want to do, save, or if you don't know, save outside. But you got to make sure you have. Oh, that's a really nice weapon. You got to make sure you save outside these. These things you're really likely to wipe in the early game at entrance floor shuffle, and that's okay. But you have to make sure that you're not walking all the ways back. Sunsword, obviously really great. I like that you equipped it. I don't think you can kill this. I think you're gonna die here. This is one of the big problems with having only a single black magic caster is you're just not very fast to kill things. Also, that can work on Gersharks, but they have huge, pretty high magic defense, so it's not really gonna work realistically. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunsword, real good. Okay, this is okay though. But here's the problem. You don't have softs. You didn't get your consumables early, even though you have $12,000. And buying all your consumables would probably cost you less than $3,000 or something like that. And that's already making this dive have to be stopped. You got to go all the ways out, and now you're gonna have to go all the ways to Canaria. Oh, is Sea Shrine your bane? Well, Sea Shrine was pretty kind to you actually. It gave you a bunch of levels, but unfortunately, uh, not so good here. Oh, it was my most visited place. You just like chilling. I've always said in the power ranking of towns, Onrak is like top tier town to live in alongside Gaia. So like Sea Shrine, it's just a friendly, like it's the neighborhood walk from Onrak. You can't complain too much about it. Yeah, it did help in the levels and Sunsword department, but once again, you're leaving another entrance uncleared, which isn't wrong, but like the experience is so high on this that um you could be pretty decently leveled and like single dipping a lot of places even at this point. But you still haven't checked Elfland, even though you have level 12 Black Mage, so you can cast level 4 spells easily. Um, Hopefully you buy your equipment here. Buy all your equipment. Please not that much. Okay, good. Okay, buy tents, buy heal pots. No, no. Come on, go back, go back. No. Okay, well, or I do it later. Yeah, I once again, it's not like the end of the world. The problem is that you're going to suffer when you need it, and towns like with peers and softs are not everywhere. There's very limited gold reasons to not do it here, so definitely doing it early is good. I do like this decision. Go check Elfland. Okay, here you buy Quad X and Brack. I would put Quad X in slot 1, but it's pretty minor. You can buy Confuse if you really want for carry, but Quad X is a really good spell. Yeah, that's okay. Quad X is a really good spell. Um, Also, why are we checking the weapon shops again? Nothing of. I wouldn't buy anything from here. Steel plus 4 is pretty good, but like you need this money more, and the incremental improvement from that wood plus 4, the steel plus 4 is probably not worth it because Knight wants to smash. You're gonna like next week's Duck Derby. Okay, loot's for sale, but that's what you just take a note of and never buy until like you have the floater and you're about to go into the Temple of Fiends Revisited. Yay, the fixed loot. Good call. Who is that? That person is wise. Oh, it's Sir Link a lot. He is wise. Okay, so this level of magic is stacked as all everything, which is really really good for your white mage. Also, fade is not white night learnable, but yeah, your white mage is all of a sudden great. And black magic. Okay, warp. Super 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 important. And unfortunately, this is why um it's okay. I mean, you have another life spell, so it's not such a big deal. But yeah, I agree. Like having it at the same level is a little bit unfortunate. But here's where buying that steel armor is really going to hurt you because you're not buying warp right now, and that's going to suck. Um, Same note with Elfland as Canaria Castle. You actually want to always check Elf Castle first in case it's like free boxes. So that way you have more gold when you go into Elfland. If it's even Toph, I wouldn't risk dying. I would go shop Elfland. But like if it's anything that's free, you can do it. Yeah, Sir Link-a-Lot. See, Sir Link-a-Lot dishing out like the solid advice. I hear that guy's pretty good at the video game. See, here's the thing. If you do this normally, what you do with Warp is you go in, you check this bottom left chest, then you go up to the top, you check those two chests, and then you warp out. You go to Elfland, you save, and then you walk back in and kill Garland. Ice 3 or Zap will both work here, or Brack. Ice 3 is probably the safest. Bye. A Sun Sword is good. And we go talk to Princess. Yep. And this was probably very very surprising for you. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but so what happens here is the princess goes to Canaria Castle, but we don't know where Canaria Castle is. Something that also happens in Entrance Floor Shuffle that you should be aware of is if you talk to the princess, or sorry, if you find Canaria Castle first, you need to remember to go talk to the king because he's in logic, and then you go talk to. Then when you find the princess, you have to come back to Canaria Castle. But make sure if you go to Canaria Castle without the princess, that you still go talk to the king. Yeah, but now you just walk out. It's fine. And make sure you keep a note because you have to come back here to win. So, no, go save. Please go save. If you get wiped by these creeps, I'm going to be very sad. Okay, go save. Okay. We also need to have a discussion with you about when to save. So, when after you exit a dungeon, you save. Period. Basically, any single time before you enter a dungeon. So, in an entrance floor, you check the dungeon, you walk out, you save. Then you go do it. Or you leave. That's fine. But if you're going to do it, sorry, you go and you check it. Am I going to do it? Yes. Save. No. Reset or leave. Whatever. When you finish a dungeon, you walk out, you save, and then you keep going. This is a good way to lose all the progress in the world and rage quit. Because like right now, if those had, these could have had, we haven't seen scorpions yet really. These could have blaze, these could have cremate, these could have all sorts of nasty things. Also, more notes on the steel armor. Um, yeah, you still don't have warp. This is gonna suck. Also, the other thing is you didn't get your spell charges back. Fire 2 is a good decision there. This time you just punch. Yep. Small optimization. It's slightly faster to use an item like gold bracelet than it is to punch. So with your mages, if your menu speed is good, you go up right to like item gold bracelet, and that's faster than punching with them. So yeah. Okay. Hey, perfect. So remember, even if you didn't have Sarah here, you have to go talk to the king because he could have your floater. Okay, canal makes sense. Crown. Okay. Okay, I really like the fact that you're keeping your. I use this tracker as well. I really like the fact that you're keeping those spell levels that you haven't bought yet. That's really really solid. I also really like the fact that you're not keeping all spell levels. I put one. The only ones I put in here are ones that I need to remember to come back for. So for example, I would also have life marked for my knight, but I wouldn't mark everything. I would just mark life for my knight at level 1 or level 2 and level 3, or no, wherever it was. I don't remember, but I would have life marked. Okay, so this you could go down, but it's a little bit risky at this point. So if it was me, I would be exiting out, or not exiting out, I would be walking back outside, saving, and then going back through the dungeon. I would burn 2 encounters, encounter manipulate the long run, and then I would go check in here. I would not be opening boxes. Another option would be to press hard reset, go in, and check for an encounter, because this floor could have some really good encounters for you. Um, so you might want to check if the first encounter in here is pretty solid for some levels, because right, once again, this is Sky, this is Mirage Tower, this has endgame enemies. You can get really, really good levels here. But this pack, you have no way to kill. I mean, you can kill them, but it's going to be really slow and bad because Ice 3 is not great against these Catmen. So I would not want to be grinding this, but I mean, it's okay. I guess Invis 2 is okay as well. But like this fight is garbage. It's okay if you have Nuke or if you want to cast Fade on it, but like Catman in general is not a fight you want to take unless you have Nuke or Fade. Yeah, brute force overthinking is a good way to be both slow and die. Because when you don't know what enemies are dangerous, you don't know what you can brute force and what's going to punch you back. So you generally speaking want to be running a lot in entrance floor shuffle and picking your grind locations more carefully. So like what I like to do is I like to check the beginning of entrances, I like to just check tiles and try and get up to level about 15 to 18 in the early game off a combination of those two things. From that point onwards, I'm in what I call dungeon clear mode, where I can just clear everything I go across, and then I just like drill to the bottom as fast as I can, and then keep going. So taking fights and like grinding as you go is a really good way to wipe like 3 floors down. Also, not having warp is a really good way to wipe on the way out. Chimeras are weak to Ice 3, so this is a really good fight actually. Yeah, both are things that happen. Yeah, but the thing is you're taking more risk and also you're getting levels slower by punching everything than you would be by running from things that are bad and fighting things that are good. Yeah, it also takes so much. It's not only it's more dangerous and it's actually slower too. Like you want to walk and grind to some extent, but in with this high EXP, you generally speaking want to be running more and getting your levels like in more specific locations. But one thing I really like is you have taken enough fights that you actually have really solid levels here, which is really, really nice. Okay, I like this as well. Checking status screen. So like I've talked a lot about like thinking fast and like speeding up your play. And I talk about this a lot in menuing because I want people to get into better habits of menuing fast, which means I'm okay if people make mistakes as long as they go quickly. Um, but the big caveat to that is that when you're don't know something, like it's a knowledge problem, I rather you take the time and learn the knowledge properly. So for example, which one is better, Dragon Sword or Sun Sword? You have to learn that. You can't just like instinctively try something and figure it out. You have to actually figure out which one is better by stats. So yeah. I like this decision a lot actually. You just got a bunch of gear, you got a bunch of levels. Let's leave. Perfect. The only problem? You walked out and almost died instead of warping out. Okay, hopefully we save here. Save. 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 Oh god. Okay, well, Nightmare, we've gone over this. Uh, yeah, you don't have warp yet. I know, you don't have warp yet, but I'm just saying, like, if you had warp, that's a time save and a safety save, right? And like in a lot of cases, the things that I call time saves are actually also safer. Um, so Nightmare, we've gone over the when to save and things, but like I hope you can take that away as like a thing you can immediately take action on because I think it's really good and it's not a hard habit to get into. So in this particular seed, you could probably save. Oh wow. Okay, good time to save. Good time to save. Okay. Another thing that's of extra importance in entrance floor shuffle is houses. So houses are a little bit later than in some other like you don't need them like in that initial Canaria castle buy, but houses are pretty important because They let you oh, exits here too. Wow. Okay, so all the spells. So definitely want to pick up exit. Um, but yeah, houses are really important because a lot of the time you're gonna want to like warp out like there, and then you're gonna want to use a house and dive back in. Wow, your magic is incredibly good, which is really good. I mean, like, yeah, your magic's busted. The only thing you're really missing is nuke and temper, I guess, but like mostly nuke. But you have warp, you have exit, you have life, you have fade, you have cure 4, you have fast. Your magic is busted. Okay, yeah, so we buy the loot. That's okay. That's 5% key item experience, which is fine. And then I would buy like, I don't know, 3 houses here. Okay, we're buying heal pots. Awesome. Just buy 99 of them. Yep, great. Okay, yeah, 5 is fine too. That got me through so much. It's at the point where I hate how I wasted all the time and money on stupid things. Yeah, magic that is. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like Magic is broken in this game. If I could teach anyone who's like played a lot of vanilla one thing about the randomizers, that Magic's like incredibly busted. So you want to like be focusing a lot of your time, resources, and energy on Magic, including your part from your party comp, 3 mages a lot of the time, to your expenditures, no weapons, just Magic. Okay, so we're 46 minutes in. We've cleared out all the entrances at the inner sea. We've checked them all, but we haven't cleared any of them. Um, so that basically means we've spent 47 minutes buying spells, getting a little bit of money, um, and that's it. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely like in entrance floor, you definitely want to be focused on like clearing things when you can, so that way you're single dipping it. So maybe the first few you walk out of, if you don't get some levels, you don't have the magic, but like at this point, you're level like 12 to 14, you have exit, warp, fade, life, everything. We should be full clearing every dungeon that we go to. And by full clearing, I don't mean opening any boxes. I mean going to the bottom and getting whatever's there, or figuring out that I don't need to come back here. But man, I'm so afraid of not getting good magic in time and end up needing to hit all the things. Well, there are some flag sets where that's true. Like, for example, if towns are shuffled, well, then you're not guaranteed. But in this one, you're guaranteed access to level 1 through 4 magic. So what I would probably think of is, hey, I have access to 4 levels of magic guaranteed. I'm going to check all those magic levels before I spend time working on backup plans, because it's likely I'm going to find something. And in this seed, for example, you absolutely did. Once again, I don't need to check the weapon shop, but that's okay. Yeah. So that approach, gather as much information as I can and then start diving, is not the worst approach. It's okay. The one issue with it is it's a little bit slow and you also end up checking a bunch of entrances. Though the case where that's correct is if you have town shuffle on, like entrances mixed with towns, but it's not deep towns, you generally speaking want to check all the entrances as fast as you can. So that way you can see if there's towns or not here. But here you know that every single location is a dungeon. So if you're not going to the location to see if it's a dungeon, like you're likely going to be missing out on tons of stuff. Okay, so key. Key, of course, opens up Canary Castle locked, so hopefully we have that at the back of our head. Also, please save. Um, but yeah, that opens Canary Castle locked up. It also opens up some additional chests, but remember, at this point, let's just quickly remind ourselves, these are the incentivized items. I know it's a little bit small, but it's Masa, Defense, Opal, Bracelet, Power Bonk, Ribbon. We literally do not need any other items in this for the rest of the seed. We have everything we need to win right here. So there's no reason to be opening up boxes at this point because we already have gold. Like, it's okay to open up some boxes early. It's okay to fight some enemies early to get some gold. But we got gold. We already bought the shop item. We have decent armor. We're not going to be buying any more like weapons. And the only thing we need to do is buy a few more spells. So because we're buying a few more spells, like we need some more gold, but we're going to get gold by killing things. So at this point, you basically don't need to open up boxes anymore, except for of course incentive ones. This comes down to my great thing of like make sure that you have a win condition. Like, what's our win condition? Plan ahead to the end of the seed. Like, what's my plan going to be? And here, the pretty clear win condition is either I'm going to open all the incentive boxes and get my fighter super buffed out with literally their 4 best items, or I'm going to grind my black belt. But either way, you don't need to open boxes to achieve either of those win conditions. What you need to do is either check grind tiles or just check all the incentive locations. So, like, having that plan is another huge way to speed the seed up. Like, I can talk about your routing and like little optimizations like that, but like I'm not really gonna say anything about getting lost because getting lost just doesn't matter. Like it matters, but you're gonna improve that naturally. But if you never stop to think about like what's my win condition and start that train of thinking, that will never improve. Your routing will improve naturally as you just get more familiar with the maps, but that how to win is something that will not improve naturally. So that's something that you have to really think about and work towards and say like, how am I going to win this seed looking at the flags? Do I need to open up boxes to win? Do I need to check weapon shops to win? Do I need to, or do I just need to go to all the incentive locations? Or do I need to grind? Find a grind tile. Yeah. This is a decent grind tile. You could take this if you level. This Tyra has too much HP. Never mind. This tile's okay, but this particular enemy sucks. Yeah. So also, no. That's a good thought too. It's what do I need to progress, but there's no loose items. So what you need to progress is get to the bottom of dungeons. Period. Full stop. Right? What you need to progress plus what do I need to win? To progress, I need to get to the bottom of dungeons. To win, I need to open incentive boxes, which are to the bottom of dungeons, or I need to find a grind for my black belt. Right? There's no I need better gear to progress, really, at this point. Or I need better magic to progress at this point. Yes, you could use a little bit more magic, but your magic's busted. You don't really need to hit Melman yet, because why do I need level 5 magic? I get nuke, sure, but like I have warp, I have exit, I have fade, I have ice 3. Like, you're okay for all those things. So I'm not going to comment too much about you opening boxes from now on, but like in my mind, the decision point here is I don't need any gear. I can get money from killing enemies, so I don't need to check boxes. Okay, so mermaids. So we have the sea incentive, so we need to check that. If you really want to open boxes, then I mean you can open some here on the mermaid floor. Like, if you want some better fighter armor, for example. But um the steel armor is really good. Like steel armor +4 is endgame armor, especially with a ribbon. Yeah, yeah. Everyone opens boxes. It's not like the end of the world. But that's something that will you can improve with time. Is like say when should I stop opening boxes? When should I not open boxes? So yeah. Okay, so we get the tail. That's good. With this party comp, the other issue with this party comp is that you kind of have a split decision. You really want to promote so your knight can learn life, like your knight can get life charges, which happen at 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, etc., depending on when you promote. But your black belt wants to wait. So that's another issue kind of with like the party comp. It's like at odds with each other. Always run from ghosts. Ghosts are freaking terrifying and not worth the EXP. So just run. Also, why are we walking out? We have exit. So something that would save a bunch of time here is I got to the bottom, I opened the incentive box. You can just exit right out and save. Okay, yeah, that's okay. I mean, it happens. And then heals died. But like, this is not only for getting exit, is not only time spent walking out of here. Now it's time spent walking out of here plus time spent going back to heal your white mage plus time spent healing. And what you're getting in exchange is a little bit of experience that you can get much faster elsewhere. So yeah, those like little mistakes are compounding here. Now, keep in mind, even though you don't have exit anymore, you could still use warp to warp your way out of here. You have enough charges. You might not be familiar with exactly where the trap chests are either, but that's okay. Like there's a trap tile there. It's not the end of the world, but just knowing that hey, if I check that box in the top right, I'm going to get 2 encounters. Something that you'll learn though. I'm not going to comment on that as like a thing that you can really adjust. It's just something that you're going to get used to as you go. Hey, we use warp now. Cool. Okay, so like I can see that you're thinking and improving as you go. It's just like that definitely is going to cost you because now you don't have healing. So you're going to have to go all the ways to Crescent Lake to heal up your white mage. Also, of course, once again saving, but we've kind of discussed that already. So your levels are fantastic. One really good thing about kind of how you've been doing things is that you have tons of levels, which is really good. Um, but at this point, like you can even start running from like this fight. You can definitely be running from like your fighter and your black belt aren't the best at running in the world, but you can run just because you have levels. Running is a combination of levels plus luck. So if you have levels, it makes up for low luck. One of the things that I sort of think I do know is the trap test. Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, so I would be. I guess you're deciding that that box is important, but I would definitely be deciding that that box isn't important because I mean, I guess I've decided that none of the boxes are important, but I can see where you're coming from. Okay, yeah. So we go to Crescent Lake. The Sir Link-a-Lot special. These are all free. This is a free tile. That's 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 a free tile. Because walking onto or off of canal locations or canoe locations are free. So if you walk like where my cursor is, you're gonna get free tiles. Yeah. Go heal. If you wanted, you could go by magic here, but it's not the end of the world. Reset out of the saving. And where are we gonna go? So we have so many options here. Yeah, that's okay. Sometimes boxes are important. If there's loose or if it's shard hunt, you need to open the boxes. It's just like recognizing the difference between flag sets and seeds is really important. Um, So one of the issues here that's making things more difficult for you is actually that because you've only checked all the entrances, you have so many options right now, and it's overwhelming. The only place you don't need to go to right now is the empty location in Toph and Mermaids, which you just cleared. But everything else is the option. So that's kind of hard. Checking ice here is good though. Like this is totally fine routing. I just hope that when you go to Ice Cave, you go to the very bottom of it because this is such a long sail that you definitely don't want to come back. Okay, I like the running. We can just keep running. Things like this exact situation here, is where like encounter manipulating will save you 30 minutes on a seed. Because there's a super long run after two encounters, and you can just have 40 tents and just get through this entire river system without taking a single encounter. And it would probably take you a quarter to a fifth of the time that this is currently taking. But that's a little bit more advanced of a strategy. And based off what I'm seeing, I think focusing on those kind of high level, like how do I win concepts are going to be much more valuable for you at this point than focusing on like encounter manipulation. Because like you can you can encounter manip, but at the end of the day, you're just running from fights. It's not the end of the world or fighting them. But thinking about how can I win in like that high level strategy is going to improve your game a lot more, and then you can learn to encounter manipulate later. Um, Okay, here obviously we really need to go check that carry box. It's okay to kill carry first, but you need to make sure you check that box or else you're going to be real sad here. Ooh, nice strats. I like the confused strats. Thumbs up. Oh, it didn't work. Unfortunate. Okay, everything else is really solid here. I actually really like that spell selection and everything. So Quake is okay here, but generally speaking, Confused is going to be better. Hey Septimus, how's it going? I think I saw you in chat for his run of this, so um, couple things of note right now. I kind of talked about the party that this is a little bit unfocused with the black belt and the fighter. He's lacking a second black caster. Other notes was that he didn't pick up warp and exit for a really long time. Third, he got a lot of levels early, but he didn't really use it to get to the bottom of dungeons. And then we're just talking a lot about win conditions and why like you don't necessarily need to open boxes here because your two win conditions are either your fighter gets all the incentive items, which is in this case Masa defense, power bonk, ribbon, or your black belt grinds. But in both cases, you need to kill. You need to like get incentive locations, check grind tiles more than you need to open boxes. So another thing that we've been discussing is incentive locations, or sorry, progression. Like the two things you need to do is you need to progress to the end of the game, and then you need to be able to win once you're at the end of the game. So win condition we just talked about, but progression, the way that you progress in this flag set is you get to the bottom of dungeons and open incentive boxes. Um, but in this case, uh, they're kind of the same thing. You want to open boxes to get your good gear, and you want to open boxes to progress. So definitely opening boxes is, or sorry, opening incentive boxes only is the way to go, not opening all the boxes. Um, Now, Nightmare Phoenix, do you understand the concept of linked chests? Um, oh, okay, DVS coming in big. See, Sir Linkalot was here earlier, dishing out the knowledge. Septimus was saying what Quake is good for, and DVS is talking about linked chests. So, um, in Discord, Shadows did like a huge investigation, a big in-depth explanation of linked chests. But basically, the way chests work are some chests are linked, which basically means they're Schrödinger's chests. Uh, And what that means is that there's two chests, or sometimes three chests, on the map that have one item in it. And whatever chest you open first will have the item. And then the other item will be empty. The other chest will be empty. Yeah. So these chests all on here are all linked. Now, the other important thing to know is that the devs have decided that some of those linked chests are official and others are the linked ones. So only the official chests are in logic. So you don't need to open the ones on here. You could potentially get an item that you're not supposed to get yet if there's loose, but I would just skip all the non-official link chests. The official chest for the ones on this floor is on the Agama floor above it normally, so you can just skip these. But for more details, go check out Shadow's post. He's got like all the details, plus Wildham's chimed in, so really, really helpful stuff there. Oops. Ooh, okay, so this tile is actually okay with Ice 3, because you punch the Badman, and then you cast Ice 3 to kill the Nightmare. But I still don't know if I would necessarily consider grinding it, but just a note. Definitely take it once, though. So, Brack is not a good idea against endgame enemies if you don't know they're weak to poison, because these enemies have really high MDefs, which means Brack is not going to work, and that's just some game knowledge. Um, so yeah, that's okay. But just keep in mind, insta-death against anything that's past the volcano in terms of enemies are probably a bad idea, just in general. So if it's past the volcano, probably don't use insta-deaths unless you like are sure it's weak to it. And then I would warp or exit out here. But you're walking out again. That's okay. But using like keeping in mind when you have warp and exit changes everything. Like exit floor, like it's very present in my mind if I have warp or exit because it just makes everything so much faster and safer. Yeah, nice, good adjustment. Oh, never mind. He wanted to heal. Use warp. Oh, that's okay. Use warp. Yeah, that's all good. Okay, as long as you're like as long as you know that that's what I'm supposed to be doing, even if you don't do it sometimes, that's okay. Because as long as you correct yourself, yeah, see, that's totally fine. As long as you're correcting yourself to make the right behavior, that right behavior is going to become habit. But if you're always making the incorrect behavior, then it's never going to become habit. So, if it's I take 5 steps, then I remember to warp, and then next time it's I take 4 or I take an extra encounter. But as long as it's going down towards I'm going to warp immediately, that's really good. Okay, so Ice Cave was completely successful. We killed Carrie, we got the incentive location, everything is good. I think we're just a little lost, but that's okay. Yeah, it's fine. So, really good thing here. This is something that I love to do in Entrance Floor Shuffle, which is clear an entire area and then forget about it. So what you've done right now is you have cleared all of Volcano and all of Ice Cave and everything in Crescent Lake, unless you want to go get some black magic here. So if you do that, you never have to come back to this area, and that's really valuable. So that's how I like to approach Entrance Floor Shuffle, is saying I'm going to split the map into areas. So Inner Sea, or maybe even north of Inner Sea. Then I'm going to clear the south of Inner Sea, and then I'm going to do Crescent Lake Ice Volcano Ice Cave, and then maybe I'll do Melmond area, and then I'll do over there. So splitting it up into areas and then full clearing those areas as best you can is really good. And then the only things you need to remember to go back for is whatever you have notes for. So for example, if you do the whole Inner Sea, all the Inner Sea, both South, North, and Crescent Lake, but there's a rod lock, then you say Inner Sea is done, but I have a note that says rod lock in Canaria Castle, for example. And that's you don't need to remember anything. You remember Crescent thing is done, but then once I get the rod, I check my notes and it says, okay, rod lock in Canaria Castle, and then you can come back. Oh yeah, hey, it's Kaldaka. Hey, Kaldaka. Being nice. Unusual. Kaldaka, are we sure it's Kaldaka? He says that he's being nice. He he just bullies Caleb in the Discord. Okay, so coming back for the spell is really good. And now we never need to come back to Crescent Lake. We never need to come back to this whole area. So hopefully we go back to our ship. That even that laugh is evil. Um, Same thing. I mean, we've talked about this, but like habits to get into, right? So I'll do it. I'll say it one more time just because we're here. But when you go to an entrance floor, check it. If it's something you want to do, save outside. If it's not, reset. And then once you leave, save. When you're in a town, go through the whole town, do all your shopping, and then what I usually do is either cast exit or warp or just walk out and then save. Yeah, in after you do your shopping in the town. The one exception to that is if you have like 50 gold, you might want to check the inn first to see if you can afford to buy anything in the town. But like that's like super 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 rare. So I wouldn't even think too much about that. And then once you save in the town, reset out of the town instead of um, walking out of the town. So all really like good improvements that I think you can make and just build those habits up. Yeah, reset out of town. Cool. But overall, we're making some progress. Your game knowledge is definitely okay. Like you don't know everything. You don't know all the weaknesses. Like some of your spell selections, especially the insta death, are a little bit like incorrect. But you're making generally speaking good decisions, and all the magic buying that you've done has been really good, except for when you were too broke to be able to afford things. But you've come back for the right things. Um, you're doing pretty well on that stuff. Okay, going to ordeals next is a good decision. Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So I'm assuming you know about the warp trick in ordeals, and you just forgot to use it, or do you not know it? Okay, that's fine then. This is a really good fight for EXP, so I would be casting Yep and Fade. Or Harm. Harm's fine too. I decided it was low step not to. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, Kaldak is also making the same thing, but if you are thinking like that next level deep, which is this worth a cast or not, that's totally fine. This fight sucks for experience, so I would just be running from it. And that's kind of like later game knowledge, I guess. Is like what encounters are worth taking, which ones you should skip. But like that one was worth 500 experience, which is just nothing. This one, on the other hand, is worth a ton of experience, so we want to take it. Although they do have a decent amount of HP, which is a little bit unfortunate. As mentioned before, using items instead of punching with your mages is generally better, but that's not the end of the world. Okay, looking good. This encounter is worth a decent amount of EXP, and they're usually really, really low HP, so um, I would fight that one, but that's not the end of the world. Also, sorcerers are EXP pinatas, so we kill them if we can. Ice 3 is exactly what you want. Ah, fasting. So, if you're thinking about killing like these enemies, they don't do anything. So, while your plan to kill them is not bad, you're either going to cast spells or you're just going to punch them to death. If you're going to punch them to death, it's punch, punch, like punch A, punch B, item, item. If you're going to spell, it's spells, but like there's no reason really to cast fast. They actually are strong to magic attacks, you're right. But they have so low HP that the magic attack, even when resisted, is still probably going to kill them. Yeah, so like ice threes, whatever, those will usually work against sorcerers. You fire three is a little questionable, but like two casts of ice three is going to take out a pack of sorcerers, or like a single nuke or a single fade. Gargoyles suck for EXP, so generally speaking, you want to run from them. And you can fade or nuke them, but and like here's another example, right? Like we haven't talked a ton about enemy selection, but like these aren't worth anything. So running here is definitely better than fighting them. Now I'm going into a little bit more details in it here in our deals, but it's just like these types of things are habits you're going to get into, and it's really important to like think of. Oh, we get to make the same correction here as we made. There's actually a step right here. So if you walk this way, you can dodge the spike tile, which is right here the second time because you can walk like this. See? Also, keep in mind that all steps around along the bottom walls of rooms are free. So if you walk like this to this chest, it's only 2 or 3 steps, like 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3. Versus if you walk up, all of these steps are counted. So if you walk right here, you save 1 step. Yeah, no, it's all good. No need to check the chests again, but that's not the end of the world. Okay, so this plan is okay, because what you said here is I'm just going to punch them, and that's fine. You can say I'm not going to cast spells, I'm just going to punch them. That's fine. I just didn't really like the invis and the fast, because like fast and invis 2 aren't going to use much. Like they're not going to do anything. Who cares? So why? Like they're just taking time to cast things that aren't doing anything. Okay, so here you have a decision. You can either exit out, or if you want to find grind tiles, you need to step on the tile. Now, what reason would we want to check the grind tile? Well, we've kind of already discussed this actually. The reason you check the grind tile is if your win condition's your black belt, because then you need to find a good grind, and we haven't found one yet. So if your win condition's your black belt, or you think it's going to be your black belt, or you're not sure, we can check the tile. If it's not, you just cast exit and get out right now. Okay, this tile is actually okay experience, but it's kind of dangerous. It's just also kind of slow because these gators have so much HP. Oh god. This is gonna take. Oh, okay, not too bad. Okay, that's not too bad. With the amount of time you end up taking, BP becomes very viable. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, good stuff. So we cleared our deals. Took some notes. Back to here. And things like this is where houses are helpful, but like this is such a short detour, it's not the end of the world. We can kill Tia right now because we have Brack, but that's just a proximity play. You don't have to make it. Oh, okay, good stuff. Ooh, this is great for Ice 3. If they're red and in Volcano, they're probably weak to ice. Which, not to spoil, we'll see make a choice later that is very worthy. So what you want to cast here is Fade. Quake is not going to work so well because they're high MDef. Quake can work on the Mudgulls, but like it's not really what you want to be relying on when what you probably want to do here is punch the Mudgull, cast Ice 3, cast Fade. That's what my spell selection would be here. Yeah, Fade wrecks them, but so does Ice 3, and Fade is more valuable of a spell, so Ice 3 is probably going to be your go-to. But like, you can see already how much more experience you're getting here from taking fights on this bridge compared to taking fights in Ordeals. So like, just knowing that change is like, I can run from more fights in Ordeals because I'm going to take more fights on the bridge. And that's different in Engine's Floor Shuffle because you have access to the Bridge of Destiny from the very beginning. Fighters, you could cast spells, you can just punch them to death. Yeah, punching them to death is fine. So much experience, 2,600 experience. That's like 3 or 4 fights in Ordeals. Okay, what's the plan here? Swing, swing. Okay, that's okay. Um, okay, not Quake. Yeah, Brack is okay. So you have a couple different choices here. I think that's why I started getting weird with my magic selection. I was running into issues later on with Ice 3 just not cutting it. Yeah, I mean, Ice 3 is a very situational spell. It's not very much is weak to it, and a lot of stuff resists it, but it is very powerful. So, like, you just need to know when to use it, I guess. It's like kind of like insta-deaths. I like this play overall with the Brack. One thing I might suggest is that, like, if you're going to go fairly defensive, I might suggest going with a fast first turn only, and then just bracking from then on, and then having these 2 characters go invis. The reason is that fast is going to speed up your damage plan if Brack fails, and then hopefully Brack succeeds later. If you had 2 Brack casters, I would just be going Brack. But because you only have one, it's likely that, with your 5 or 6 Bracks, you might not get it. So having a backup with your Niter, with your Night casting fast early, just for 1 turn, is probably worthwhile. Yeah, because if he's casting fast, he's doing 200 damage a turn. Tiamat has 1100 HP, or sorry, minimum 1100, maximum 2200. So you're going to kill him in like 10 turns with fast, or 20 turns without fast. And also, if your Black Mage dies, this is catastrophic. Versus if your Black Mage gets off fast, at least your Black Mage can die and still be okay. Okay, Fire 3 adjustment, not the right one. Fire 3 is going to do no damage to Tiamat. Whereas Fasting, either your Black Belt or your Fighter is going to do way more. Fade's a good idea, though. Ooh, Blizzard's dangerous. So we want to heal up our primary damage dealer here, or our life, or our Cure Forecaster. Ooh, that's really risky. So bosses are clamped here. Um, which means this has at least 1100 HP. You're probably not killing it this turn, which means you need to make sure people survive more than you need to try and speed and power it down at this point. So just small adjustments that are different based off the fact that you're used to duck seats. But when bosses have clamped HP, speed and power is going to be a little bit less beneficial compared to playing a little bit safer. So I really like the invis stacking there, but that last turn decision was risky because if you got an elemental AoE spelled again, you could have lost everything. Versus if you had cast life instead of fade, or sorry, cure 4 instead of fade, might have been a little bit safer. Those types of adjustments are very difficult. Those types of adjustments are very difficult to make because they require you to understand, like, where you are in the battle, how much HP the thing has, and all that. But um, yeah, yeah. Fortunately, you save, so it's not the end of the world. But like a lot of the time, you're going to be fighting Tiamat at the end of all of Sky. That's real bad if you'd wipe there. So you want to play it a little bit safer. Um, Interesting. Okay. Okay. Yep. So we're going to go key locked. I like this. Good play. So Keldaka is saying after level 8, I believe they are better without weapons. So that's not entirely true. It is probably true in this case, but that's a pretty big plus. What the actual situation here is they get 2 damage per level unarmed. So you just have to do the calculation. But in general, after level 12, no weapons are going to be better, like no vanilla weapons are going to be better. And then after level 21 to 24, your black belt's going to be better than even swinging a Masa, just with his fists. So I okay, if we're just checking Melman, it's okay. But what I don't love about this decision is we haven't finished clearing Marsh Cave, and we haven't finished clearing dwarves, and that's just making it so that you have, and we haven't finished clearing Elf Castle, so we've just left 3 locations, and then we're going to go to some other random entrances which we also haven't gone to the bottom of. The entrances are so similar in this game. They're fundamentally the same. You don't know what's at the bottom of any of them. So you rather clear kind of areas as you go rather than go to a new area to start checking new entrances that you don't know what's at the bottom of. You might as well clear them area by area, which is so different compared to vanilla or compared to normal game where you're like going to very specific entrances for very specific reasons. Going to Melman's okay though if you just want to check for magic, but like all you're really missing at this point is nuke. I guess heal 3 is okay too. Okay, so we want to buy nuke and we want to buy lock 2 here. Okay. If you don't go with lock 2, that's okay, but if the boss scaling was any higher, lock is definitely something to consider picking up. Anything where the bosses can go up to like 200% or so, lock is going to become quite important, especially against certain chaoses and krakens. Lock can be a bigger damage boost than temper if the boss has high evasion, because you need to hit them to do damage to them. Okay, good. So the only thing you're checking weapon shops for, or armor shops for at this point are gold bracelets, because that's the only thing we haven't seen. Um, Hey, hey, you saved at the end. Good job. But go, like keep in mind also what you're looking for in armor shops. Pro rings, gold bracelets are really your end game, and then in the early game you're looking for anything that's good enough. But in this case, pro rings and gold bracelets are really what you're looking for. So that's the only reason you should be checking armor shops. You can't do anything here, so this is where you just check the entrance and then write it down and leave, which I think is what you did. You just took a couple extra steps. So I'm more than okay with you taking a couple extra steps to like finish processing what you need to be doing. It's going to become more automatic later, but that's okay. Uh-oh. Yeah, you're like, is this even randomized? What, is this entrance floor shuffle? I don't believe it. Hmm. Okay, good. So this is exact like sequence is what I like doing though. Like check the entrance, clear the areas. The only problem is that you've left behind a bunch of entrances in the inner sea at this point. Oh no. Uh, So now, couple answers here. Wow. Um, was this preventable? Not really. You haven't seen this enemy before. You haven't seen that they're nasty. Now, what you can do to prevent it is a few things. One is learning counter manipulation, so that way you take less overworld encounters. Two is that after you find something nasty and you're in the same encounter zone, um, making sure that you save after is a good idea as well. Oh god. You saved last in Melmond, I would definitely just reset here. Okay, good stuff. And if there's ever a time to learn encounter manipulation, it's right here, because these shadows are terrifying and you do not want anything to do with them. Yeah, that's what I do just for later. Yeah, yeah, that's okay. Oh god. Yep. No, no, no. You got to reset here again. You have no victory path here. Okay, that was a soft reset though, because you can see this huge run here after 2 encounters or 3. Okay, so check it, save, but I know you're not going to do it this time, but just to reiterate that. Okay, so Earth Cave. Um, if your win condition is black belt, well, letting them kill you is a good idea, sorta, but it'd be better if you just used your soft reset button, because it does the same thing a lot faster rather than waiting for them to kill you. If everything else fails and you need to encounter manip, just constantly soft reset. At least that way you're going through the encounter table. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Without the soft reset button, encounter manipulation is basically impossible. Ooh, that's really nasty. That's gonna be really bad because that means wow, you a dodged a bullet in ordeals. Um, waterfall could be a little scary, and yeah, but you dodged a bullet in ordeals. Ice cave also could be a little bit scary. So in this room, if you don't want to check the trap tile, you could walk along the bottom, but in general, I would actually always recommend walking along the bottom. The reason being is that if you want to check the trap tile, you want to check it in this room. The reason you want to check it in this room is because the trap tile is right here. And if you're going to grind, you want to walk this one, this one, this one, this one. The reason is because that way you only ever take a step onto the trap tile. This step is free, which means you can't get an off step encounter. So if you want to check this tile, the room you want to check this tile in is this bottom left one. Because if you check the tile and you like it, you can just grind. This tile's terrible, so I'm gonna assume once again this is just down to like not knowing exactly where the trap tile is, but obviously you want to dodge this tile after you know that they have lightning 3. Um, so yeah, we've obviously gone over like at this point we shouldn't be opening these boxes in the first place, but if we're gonna open them, just other notes and this type of knowledge transfers into other seeds as well. So and we want to cast exit or warp here. Oh, I was gonna say your heal potting is so fast, and I realized we're at 2 times speed. Heal potting is still pretty fast, but that was like impressively fast. Wow, this Earth Cave is terrifying. So once again, we're taking extra time because we didn't cast Warp. Okay, so this is nothing. So you just cast exit and leave. You can check the boxes if you really want to, but once again, like we don't need boxes. But if you want to check them, you can check them. And keep in mind, if you want to open boxes, you don't need to open all the boxes in the game. There's no loose. You can't skip anything that's world ending. If you want to open a couple boxes because say you feel like you need better armor or you want a ribbon, you can open just the safest boxes, like these ones, and skip the less safe boxes or slow boxes, like um, the ones on Earth, for example. If your win condition is your black belt grind, you want to check the Earth spike tiles in the Hall of Giants. I don't know if you've seen the map of it, but there's a map for the Hall of Giants um, about where the trap tiles are there. So yeah, 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 yeah. So you can definitely use that to get a few more levels as well. Okay, I'm gonna skip ahead here. This may be a bio break. Oh, my YouTube. Okay, we're good. And same thing here. Let's make sure we're using exit. I like this. Something I've noted about other things, this is a later improvement, but I'll mention it, is when you're in a safe location like this, open all the boxes before you re-equip items, because there's no reason to do it as you go. It just opens the menu more times. Okay, nice use of warp, and save. Okay, this is super risky because those shadows have crack. Cover my eyes. We're still not safe. Wow. Please go to town and save. Yeah. Most of the routing is still from getting boxes, so that's okay. There is like shard hunt, entrance floor shard hunt and stuff that, yeah. I think this is when someone decided to come and tell me about a snake. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So this fight does nothing. If it's not unrunnable, you should just be running. But not the end of the world. So I've been talking a lot about tactical, like, very specific things, but a lot of it has, the high level concepts, like know why you're fighting enemies or why you're not fighting enemies. And try and make those decisions split second, like, no, I don't need experience. No, I don't need experience. Yes, I can kill this. Or like something, but just have something, like a reason why you're doing stuff, and try and come up with that and make those decisions very quickly in battle. Um, like here it's unrunnable, so obviously you punch it, but like, why are we doing things? Like just having that thought process is really important. So we've gone over, why are we opening boxes? Why are we taking a party? But also, why are we taking fights? And you don't need to make the right decisions, but you need to be making purposeful decisions. Because if you do that, then when someone asks you, you can be like, oh, I did this. And then, if you talk to a veteran runner or something, or even another duck, they can be like, oh, I disagree with that. But that's at least a starting point versus just like, I take fights because it's in front of me. Well, all of a sudden it's like, well, there's no place to improve there other than to start thinking about why I'm taking fights, right? I like that you're going back here. We need to find the floater, so let's go clear the remaining entrances. But like, yeah, I mean, your party does suck at running too, so that is of note. But remember that parties that suck at running mostly suck at running in the early game. By this stage of the game, you have enough levels that you should be able to run, regardless of your luck stats. Yeah, that's a terrible fight, so definitely be running. Okay, so you're deciding you're taking this fight. That's okay. Pure good stuff. Yeah. Okay, so we're in Northwest Castle. We have the crown, so let's go turn that in. Good stuff. Crystal. So we haven't found Matoya's yet. And this is another entrance. Check. Done. And going and checking the other stairs. Oh, I see what I mean. I see what you mean. So you thought it was vanilla, like, floors, or like you were just like checking the entrances, but then you realized later that like, hey, anything can be at the bottom of this. Like I can find Sarda. So here for the record, the trap tiles are, oh, I cannot pause at the right time. There's two distinct trap tiles in here, and these two are the same, and then the middle one. Because so far it wasn't too crazy. Yeah, fair enough. And here this is exactly when we want to cast exit. Oh, but see, you realize when you need to, oh boy, what are we doing? Okay, well, at least got some encounter selection here, but I think you've already cleared these boxes. Where are we going? Okay, that's fine. Oh, okay, yeah, well, remember, yeah, that's fair. I mean, people forget and then you get burned, but yeah, that's okay. At least we used exit there. That's fine. Okay, so we talked about saving. And here we go. Let's see. So next we have Sea Shrine, I think. You need to go to Dwarf Cave, the split. No, I didn't. I'm good. So at this point we need to go to the Sea Split, I think, in Dwarf Cave. Or did we finish clearing Elf Castle? I can't remember what was in Elf Castle. I don't think we cleared it though. So I think those are the two places that you need to go. Let's see where we go instead. Okay. Nice. Good use of the river dock. Okay. There's going to be some time where I'm stuck, so I decide to leave to the dwarf. Okay. Hey, we're saving. Nice. Nice. Improvements. Okay, so something of note in Entrance Floor Shuffle was splits. So splits have two different dungeons below them and two different exits that you need to keep track. So which means you need to track them separately. So what I do is if you clear both entrances they're done, but if they're not, I always write down like dwarves, dwarf in dwarf cave right, or dwarf in dwarf cave north if it's the marsh split, for example. So splits are really, really important, and they have two items, so you need to make sure that you remember to clear both sides. And sometimes it can be a split that leads to a split, so then you need to clear all three. Slightly small optimization there. If you walk right and up, you walk along the bottom of the wall, so you save a step, but that's minor. Okay, so I guess you're gonna open all the boxes here anyways, but this is a floor that catches new runners like crazy. Okay, Kaldaka coming in with the big save. Good job, Kaldaka. There is an incentive here. Lower left chest. Um, yeah, this incentive location gets like skipped constantly. So remembering that it's here is really important. Ice 3 is going to be way more effective here, but these little minute battle strategies are really, really hard to remember. So like I'm not gonna like get too into it. Ooh, nice armor. But keep in mind, your win condition does not really care that much about the incremental improvement from a dragon armor to a steel armor. Like it just doesn't make that much of a difference. Versus all the time you spend checking boxes here. Um, General note about this floor. If you want to full clear it, what you want to do is actually exactly that. Yeah, good job. You want to clear the left side, then you want to warp, and then you want to clear the right side. So if you have warp, no matter if you're in entrance floor shuffle or just in vanilla one, you want to clear one side, warp, and then clear the other side. Hey, floater! We're going to get in the air. Now, if ooh, wow, that's kind of nasty. If a slightly more veteran runner was running the seed, they probably would have cleared this the first time they saw it, just because it's only on the second floor and it's not that deep. So like that's could be a huge time save, as opposed to waiting for so long. But once again, it's not like the end of the world. It's just like knowing that my goal in these places is to get to the bottom or get to the incentive locations is really, really important. Yeah, you know what I'm going to say here. So we're just going to go clear this out. I know. Poor Kaldaka as well, and last time Weirdo Wizard. I swear people are going to hear my voice in their head when it's like, boxes? We don't need no boxes. And then you're going to play a loose Flagset, and of course you need to open boxes or shard hunts, but I don't really want to say it's not about boxes. What I'm really trying to say is like it's about what you need to do in order to succeed in the seed and recognizing that in advance and then having a plan that evolves as the seed goes on. And sometimes like in these ones this plan is made from the start because you have such good incentive items, but um in other ones the plan is going to get made as you go. So you need to adjust to it. Gave Kaldaka such a heart attack. We don't need ice -5. Yeah, okay, so this is a really good point. So a couple notes about entrance flora that you might not know. Um, Canaria Castle is always at an entrance, so it's never like buried deep. Ordeals is always also on the first floor, and the Ordeals, whole Ordeals is always linked together. Ice Cave is always together, like, sorry, this floor and the one below it are always together, but they're not necessarily the first floor. So just a couple notes that you can use to your advantage. If you haven't found like Ordeals, for example, and you really need items, or you need to find Canary Castle, you can just check entrances, because you know that they're not later down. So those are just a couple of the nuances with entrance floor shuffle, which is like good knowledge to have, but not necessarily essential. And now we use exit. Okay, I don't do that because that makes me forget that I have the bottle, but that's fine. Oh yeah, I mean it's pretty close to this exact flag set. With some, I tweaked it a little bit, so I didn't give you the exact one, but this is pretty close to the exact flag set of one of the Duckling Derby flag sets. I never knew which time spells are any good, so I never use them. The best one is Zap. Confuse. I'm forgetting which one is the AoE stop spell, but that one's okay, but mostly just Zap. Okay. And this staircase will always exit you from all the dungeon, no matter how deep it is. So if you don't have exit, if you get to ice, it can be really nice to get all the ways out. Oh, no, save. Oh no. Wow, Kaldaka is if I'm the like stern but kind professor, Kaldaka is the I don't know what is this how Jat feels. Yeah, hold. That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, see, Kaldaka knows, but it's true. You should get anxious. To be fair, I I don't know. I think it depends on the person. Uh, I have no problem with. Oh no. Okay, you don't die. Uh, oh no, do you not go right? No. I know you have the airship, but you still want to finish the right side before you leave, because once again, like entrance floor shuffle is overwhelming. Simplify it, and the way you simplify it is by clearing entire places that you can get out of your mind forever. That's funny though. The reason I get so I've explained my save thing enough, but another thing I want to point out is that saving at the right times also mm, saving at the right time is also the precursor. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I can see why that happens to you. That really sucks. Oh boy, that's gonna be rough. Um, okay, well, that notwithstanding, I have done this in races, where I forget to clear one of the side or the other, and then I go around the whole world trying to forget what I did. But like at this point, I always have like a mental bookmark that's like not subconscious, like a lot of my muscle memory is, but like front of mind, where when I find a place with two entrances, I like tell myself for the whole time, I'm gonna go back and do right side. I'm gonna go back and do right side. I'm gonna go back and do right side, because this is so easy to forget. It happens to everyone. But to be honest, you're not gonna do it again, so that's a good sign. Yeah, not a big deal. Yeah, so my point about saving. So the other reason that saving a lot is important is it gets you in really, really good habits for entrance floor or for encounter manipulating later. Um, if you get used to saving at all times, you're gonna get into really, really good habits for encounter manipulating later. So that's why I also just encourage these different times to save, because it's gonna like set that foundation for encounter manipulation later. You really do need to get the soft reset button bound on your keyboard though. So yeah, that's a little thing. Good. I like to pick up gold bracelets there. Don't need to check weapon shop still. Okay, level 8 magic. So, yeah, this is okay. You're going to promote, you're going to have the levels for it, so it's okay to check it. But something to note is that what spell are you looking for? Like, when you hear a veteran runner check level 8 magic, they usually will say something along the lines of, I checked level 8 magic because I wanted fast, or I checked level 8 magic because I wanted life 2. they're generally checking it for an exact reason. So level 7, level 8 magic is basically you're going there for like life, fast. That's usually it. Like those are like the spells that you're checking for. Because the other ones you're not going to get enough casts out to matter. But like a single cast of life, a single cast of fast can be huge. So how did a snake get loose? Yeah, once you have soften, yeah, I like Septimus is like actually that's what we should frick. We should have used that in our Duckling weekly. I'll mention that the next one. The first step of encounter manipulation is save often. Do I like the first step? Yes. Hard reset always. No. Always soft reset. That is like the first step of encounter manipulation. I agree. That's a really, really good point. Yeah, so this is a box to check off. I mean, that's something that we've kind of discussed, I guess, but like, I guess it's about like going from very small goals to going to very big goals and then deciding how the small goals play into the big goals. And that's like really, really, really difficult. What emulator do you use? So he's asking, so my ME doesn't have a soft reset option. Jade asks, oh, I have no idea. If you can, I just would suggest switching to BizHawk because it has controller bindings for it, but if you're attached to it, I'm sorry, I don't know. That would be like something to ask in setup. Ribbon, attach it to your Lifecaster. Yeah, I would just switch to BizHawk. Like, A, BizHawk's the only thing that co-op supports. B, BizHawk's great. There's no problems with it. And C, um, I don't know if this will work. One second. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. That's the only. I don't. I think I've cropped it. Yeah. Okay. You can't see it. I was going to show you how to do the bind, but it's not that hard. So you'll figure it out. Same thing, reset out here is a lot faster. Something that Kaldaka and Weirdo both didn't think about either is the fact that you can use warp and exit in towns and in other safe areas. So just remembering that also can save a lot of time. Hey, this is really good. I'm really impressed that you're doing this. Remembering that you can check the chime location without the cube is really good because a lot of people forget this. Um, save. Oh well. So the only real good spell you have against this is mostly, yeah, punching is actually the right spell. Good. Punch, 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 punch. So I know I've harped on it a lot, but like this is once again another good example of like how good experience, um, of how good experience later game dungeons can be, right? So like these are good fights to be taking, but that means that instead, in exchange, you just run through all of Earth, run through all the fire floors, all of those floors. You just skip, 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 and say, I'm gonna get enough levels to win on this. The other thing is kind of having an idea about where you want to be, how excuse me, how high level you want to be for the end of the game, and that goes once again into having a plan. For your fighter with your guaranteed Masa, we don't yet know if it's going to be Masa -5 or not, but generally speaking, of vanilla Masa, the fighter breakpoint is level 24. So your goal for your fighter should almost always be level 24. If the clamps are really high or anything like that, you can aim a little bit higher, but getting the fifth swing on your Masa at level 24 is really important, and that's just like a global hint for all of the duckling flags that have an incentivized Masa, is like get your fighter to 24 for the end of the game, and you're probably at a good level. Your mages can be slightly lower level, although generally speaking, having them around the same is a good idea. And keeping a four-person party up for ducklings is going to be a lot safer. 3 and 2 manning is all about having a plan, but it's a little bit more complicated of a plan. So I would suggest sticking with the four-person and doing that. Okay, so this is the first instance we've seen this. This is fine. But you don't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, actually, no. Earth incentives on. Never mind. You're doing it right. Q block is different. But like here, all we want to do is we just want to check the rod lock box. Yep. And then we want to exit out. Now, viewers at home, do we remember? This is a split. I need to. Oh wow. Okay, never mind. We're going deeper first. But this is a split. Once I leave here, I have to go down the other side. I know you're never going to forget it again anyways, but... Okay, nothing on this floor. You can check some boxes if you want. A quick tip for this floor. When you're routing this floor, you want to route one side, warp, and then route the other side, and then warp again. It's just faster than walking all around. If you want to check this bottom box, you also can use warp. Hello, I. Yeah, your levels are you're gonna be hugely leveled by the end of it, aren't you? Okay, no boxes. I like it. Nice. I like it. Yeah, just it's not so much that here you should be warping, but more just like if you're going to check the boxes there, using warp is a good time save. Okay, minor optimization here. No one ever does it, but there's a free step right there. So if you want, really minor thing, but if you walk along this wall, there's a free step right there, so you can save a step. It doesn't. It turns off when it doesn't listen to sound for 30 minutes. But I'm talking. It's kind of stupid. I guess it doesn't appreciate that I'm talking to nobody. Okay, Kraken. So this Kraken fight, I would have the exact same strategy as Tiamat, which would be fast first turn, and then cast Brack from then on. Double Invising is okay, but at this point you're so high level that you're probably just going to kill it. So swing, swing, fast, fade, and then probably swing, swing, Brack, fade is what I would be going with. Nuke is an okay. Okay, yeah, fast, fade, nice. Yeah, with this high of a level party, going pure speed and power strats is okay. But remember, this is different. I did clamp the bosses on this flag set, so that does make a big difference. That Kraken was like minimum HP. Well, not quite, but it was like 900 HP or something, which is pretty low for 100, 200%. Okay, so we lit the water orb. Wait, are you going to use the warp? Oh, is there going to be some high level strategies here? So there is definitely a high level strategy here of warping back to the marsh floor and then walking down after you light the orb but don't exit. It's got niche uses. The problem with it is that the marsh floor isn't that deep, so I would probably just exit and save here, just for safety. Versus if the marsh floor is like 10 floors down and then it splits, and then there's one floor, then that's when it's better to warp up to the marsh split, walk down, and go down the other side. So that's kind of the trade-offs. The deeper the split is, the more likely you want to warp back to the floor and then walk across, compared to... Um, okay, save. Use a house. Oh, you don't have... Oh, God. The deeper down the split is, the more likely you want to warp up and walk across. The more shallow the split is, the more likely you want to exit, save, and then just do it again. Safety is key. You lose way more time dying than you do by like these other minor time saves. So like that's why going to the surface in entrance floor shuffle is not the end of the world. We've already found a shop item. I don't know why you're checking here. Oh God, did you forget the other side again? Is it the double split forgetting? I don't know if you knew this, but this spot is slightly closer than that one. So I would definitely not be choosing to do on Rat Continent here. And the reason is because you have ordeals, you have the four um, Cardia IO locations that you haven't checked yet, and you don't. Do you have it? Oh, never mind. You have the. Never mind. I take it all back. If you don't have the Oxtail yet, you want to avoid this and do other places first. But you have the Oxtail already, so this is fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I missed it. I have an older version of the tracker. My thing is in a different place. Yeah, because randomizer. Is this even randomized? this floor is another really, really good place to use that warp trick I was talking about. You go up, you open the boxes, warp back. You go right, you open the boxes, you warp back. You go left, you open the boxes, you warp back. Of course, here we're not wanting to open boxes, but just in general, using warp on sky 1, 2, and 3 is a good way to save time. Yeah, yeah. No, it's okay if you don't open boxes. It's just like good general thing. Uh, okay, so you just decide to go mode from this point onwards. Okay, I like that you make that decision in general. Like it's a little later than perhaps I would make it, but like I like that you're like I'm in go mode now. I'm not going to open any boxes except for some reason this one, which is linked to the one on the bottom of the carry floor. That's the link chest, by the way, to the carry box that you opened. Okay, so you know that fire steps don't increase the encounter table? Because generally speaking here, you want to walk on the fire, so that way you don't get encounters, as opposed to skipping it. Yeah, okay. So dwarves, we have something to turn in here, I think. We have the... I thought we had at least one of them. I seem to remember us getting something. TNT. Hey, gives us the hooray door check. Crabcake says it makes you 15% faster, and she's pretty good at this game, so I'm inclined to believe her. Um, okay, yeah, that's fine. And we can just exit here, but not the end of the world either way. Yeah, so, a couple, once again, just a quick review of what we've talked about. The big mistake that right now that Nitemare is making is that we've skipped two sides of splits, and those are really going to come back and bite us. I'm assuming we're going to have a little bit of this seed where we just walk all around um, and don't open and don't find what we're looking for quite a while. But that's the big other one. The other big thing I've talked about is like clearing sections of the map and just whenever you leave something behind, write a note. But that way you can mentally clear things in your head. Getting a bit weird in the head from missing things and getting lost. I start kind of grasping at things opening boxes. I don't know why. Kind of default mode of when in double loot. Oh, when in doubt loot. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah. So just things to consider, but I think a big part of the reason you're getting lost is because there's just too much going on. I have all these entrances. Even if you have perfect notes, you know where everything is, where do I go next? It's confusing. Versus if you always clear entrance floor, shuffle the same order or close to the same order of like, okay, I'm gonna like get in the air. I'm gonna clear the inner sea. I'm gonna get in the air. I'm gonna inner sea, Melmond, Crescent Lake area. Then I'm gonna clear east or western Melmond. Then I'm gonna go to Gaia and Lefane. Then I'm gonna go to Chime. Then I'm gonna do Cardia. Then Ordeals. Then Onrak Continent. For example, if you always have the same pattern, the more that you can have as memory, and like always doing the same thing, the less you have to actually think about, the more you can just act. And that's kind of really important. The burden of choice is a really good way of putting that. So yeah. But we made a decision. This is a good one. I've seen a lot of good improvements. Like you started to use some warp and exit, and I think you're going to continue to do that in seeds going forward. As I said, your magic selection is really good. Party comp definitely causing some problems, but you're so high level that black belt's going to be a beast. Um, your armor selection is good. We've talked about weapon stops. We talked about saving. So yeah, still pretty good. Whoa. Okay, there is no reason to open chests on this. Of all the floors, I skip this even sometimes with loose items. Not actually, but man, yeah, this floor sucks. It's weird. You're like alternating between go mode and not go mode. I wonder like what's going on. Oh right, when in doubt, loot. Fair. I'm confused. I'm gonna open more boxes. Unfortunately for you, progress is not in boxes. Progress is in specific locations. at the macro level, taking time to think is not a bad decision. I've talked a lot about when I want you to go fast, and when I want you to go fast is in battle, when you're deciding what encounters to take, whether to run or not. That's where we want to go fast. Where we want to go slow right now when you're learning is just like your macro level, your decisions. Why am I doing things? It's going to make a huge difference. Once again, exiting here is going to save a bunch of time, but not the end of the world. Okay, nice. So something that is important to be aware of here is that include dead ends is off, which is this flag here. So this means that the dead ends in Cardia will not be included in the shuffle, so you can skip them. Oh, taking a break. Okay, speaking of taking a break, I should go get a very quick drink. I will be back in about a minute and a half. But just a quick note. Okay, teas in hand, we are back. Um, Thank you to everyone who's sticking around. I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight, and I hope we can continue on Nightmare Phoenix. I mean, I do this so that other people can potentially watch, but I'm really just hoping that it can help at least one player. The person whose VOD I'm reviewing. So, yeah. Cheers, Septimus. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. I know, you know, you don't necessarily need to learn all this stuff, but I think it's valuable to have, some members of the community hanging out. So, okay, let's get back on it. Tea is better than bourbon, which is what goes in this. So we'll take the tea. Oh, not tea. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Oh, nice screen transition. I'm not that fancy. Yeah, so this is exactly that dead end that I was talking about. So this is always going to be a dead end as long as that flag's checked. So this is something that I always keep notes of. And then the other dead end is the top left here in the double cardia aisle. This floor has no chests. Okay, so once again, white shirt is probably worse off here than just casting Fade, because here's the thing. If your white shirt goes off, you increase your survivability a little bit. If Fade goes off, Fade kills them. So even though the white shirt prevents a little bit of damage, Fade prevents the most damage. And you're not really like hurting for spell charges. So I would probably just cast Fade. I've never seen the left side of this floor. I have legitimately never seen it. I did not even know what it looks like. I've done that before, but never seen the left side. Okay, Matoya. So we have the crystal and we get the ruby. Um, and do we exit? Come on, you can do it. Shadows is back. Hey Shadows, how's it going? And Keldak is back too. Hey, nice exit. Perfect. Okay, so we checked the empty one, but not the end of the world. Now we know. Good stuff. Just for the record, these are called grassy, double bottom or double or promotion, forest, and um, swamp. Just in case you know what we call these places, which doesn't seem to matter now, but matters quite a bit during co-op when you have to describe where various things are. This is a dead end for if there's no loose. There's no incentives here, so you can just leave. This room is another one. Sorry, Keldaka, you've heard this like 5 times, but you can save steps by walking along the bottom here and then walking up instead of walking up. Because if you walk up, these steps across are counted, but if you walk along the bottom, these ones aren't. So you only step up and back. Hmm, it's all good. And okay, we walk out. Once again, exiting is going to be faster, but not the end of the world. It's more about like triggering like, okay, I finished a floor. I'm going to exit now. Like it's just getting into that habit more than it's using the exit. I know it's really, really hard because there's so much going on and like this is your fourth seed, like crazy, but um, these improvements are things that you can work on. And what I really suggest doing, and something I can potentially help you with, is yeah, for sure. Hey, it's a good lesson. I did the east. Nice, nice. Yeah, something that I can work with you with after this potentially when we're doing like the kind of review is just going through what to maybe work on your next seed because I've given you way too much information. Way too much information. But what I would recommend doing is another one of these very similar seeds, maybe the same flag set with a different seed, and just picking a few things to focus on. And maybe that's having a win condition as one of them, and maybe the other thing you're focusing on is um, using exit and warp more effectively. And that's all you're working on for that seed. And if you do that properly and you do your own VOD review or you get, I don't know, people in chat are saying, you say, hey, people in chat, point out whenever I don't use exit or warp. And that's what I'm going to work on. Or maybe it's using exit and warp and saving. Maybe those are the ones that you're working on. Like focus on one or two things per seed and that's how you get better. Because trying to fix everything at once is overwhelming. And you're going to just like here, as you said, like there's too much going on, so I'm just going to open boxes of panic. Trying to improve everything at once is overwhelming. So I've given you a big page of your notes, but um, working on small things until will add up to a larger one. So small steps. Yeah. Exit warp game, save. Nice. Where are we parking our boat? Yeah. Shadows coming in hot again with the wisdom. It is just south. Yeah, right there. Perfect. Nice. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm really glad that you did that because I rather you do that properly than do it wrong, because this is the right habit to get into. Once again, I don't judge. I don't care if you get lost or make bad step routing and all that stuff. It's more that I want you to know when you're doing something that you might think is right or something you're not thinking about. Yeah, exactly. Hey, promotion. So this is a little bit unfortunate for your black belt because he's level 24, but that's 25, but that's high enough. Ooh, nice exit. But that's high enough that it's probably okay. Something I always do, another habit. Something I always do is the moment I promote, I open my armor menu. The moment I promote, I open and check. Because if you have that mental trigger, you're not going to forget you're just sitting on a dragon armor or an Aegis shield before chaos. So I at this point I'm pretty good at knowing, but like I almost always like when I promote, I open my armor menu and my weapon menu and equip all my good gear right off the bat. So just something to get in the habit of. A promote, okay, open my armor, equip, open my weapon, equip, done. And that way you don't need to like have the mental energy later. It's just a good habit to get into. Nice. Of course, once again, you're so high level that you could definitely be skipping these things. We've talked a little bit about like kind of the duckling seed breakpoint, which is 24, but it's fine. Okay, so at this point you've cleared all entrances, but you've forgotten the two splits. So I'm assuming this is where we throw our hands up and flail. commence flailing. Or you start Dannying, which is where you just start swearing at the screen like, ah, fuck, goddamn. Yeah. If you ever like get the joy of listening to Danny play a game of Final Fantasy Randomizer, you will enjoy that quite a bit. Oh, waterfall. Yes. Wait. You didn't check waterfall when? Oh. You did. Okay, you forgot waterfall and you forget the split here. Okay, you forgot both. Okay. Doing Titan's Trove is a good idea as well. Oh, water. This is like 3 vanilla entrances. What the actual heck? Nice. Hey, your waterfall routing's good. Whoa. Slow down there, champ. Why do you know waterfall so well? That was like step. Oh, never mind. I jinxed you. That was like step perfect until you got there. No, it was like step perfect until you got there. Okay, now you've taken an extra step to the right as well, but well, your instinct to go left is good. Okay, this is scary. So in this fight, I would be casting Fade and Fire 3. The reason is because these guys have AoE spells, so I would be casting it for safety rather than running. Yeah, wait until you see Procton Waterfall. Procton Waterfall's terrible. Okay, Adamant. So the Dwarves is one of those places that you definitely need to keep notes of until you have turned in both items there. So hopefully you have the Dwarf Cape in your notes. Yeah, you got the runoff, which is good. What I like to do on those type of things is run with the fighter and the black belt, and then cast clearing spells with the black mage and the white mage. Alternatively, if there's only a single enemy, what I'll often do is I'll punch with the fighter, and then I'll run with the other 3 characters. So um, basically, I have something that if my runs all fail, this person kills it, whether it's a spell or a punch, and if the runs succeed, great, I'm out. So when I'm trying to run, sometimes I'll still go, if I think it's dangerous, with a few more like damaging spells. Oh yeah, they've changed the colors to help remind you when you're in various places. It actually does help, but it can kind of throw off new players, especially. This is where we're thinking. So we have a couple options here. So I know that you've forgotten both splits, but we also have the item from the dwarves, and we also have the Titan's Trove to turn in. Caldaco's trying to remember. Oh god, yeah. Honestly, my brain doesn't remember anything. Like it's either forgotten or it's in my notes. That's the extent of everything that I remember in Entrance Floor, and I've been playing for 8 months. So like it's not about for me it's not about memorizing every single entrance, every single floor. It's just about remembering via notes what you need to and forgetting everything else. Because you can't keep this whole game in your mind. Well, you can maybe much later, but for now it's about simplification, not making more complicated. Good. Oh god, this is the worst in. Yeah, the only place I could think of is the right side of Shrine, but well. Oh, I see. Your guys' combined memory was a little bit spotty. Oh, I see. So they're telling you where you need to go, but you're like, no, it's mermaids. That's okay. That happens. I can't give you too hard of a time for forgetting something like that. What I can give you a hard time for right now is that you've also just completely forgotten Sarda and Titan's Trove West. I hope you remember it. It's really easy to remember that they're not linked. I'm assuming going to Titan's Trove is going to remind you that you haven't done that. But like my routing for this is always after I get the floater, I go check Sarda and Titan's Trove West because it's so easy to remember. So I like clear the entire southern part of the map before I go south. Okay, so Vanilla Masa is gets the extra hit at 24. I've talked a lot about that, but the Masa is so high hit already that you can't. Oh yeah, you got okay. You got saved a little bit here, but that could go anywhere. keep in mind, those were both vanilla for no reason. Those could go anywhere. So you got saved a little bit by going to Sarda here, but usually you have to fly to both of these entrances individually. Anyways, my point about the Masa is so high that pluses do not increase its swing point cap. So Masa plus 5 still gets its breakpoint at 24. Masa 0 gets its breakpoint at 24. For each minus, usually it goes down by 1. So if your Masa is minus 1, that means that you're going to get your fifth swing at level 25. If your Masa is level 22 or minus 2, you're going to get it at 26. Minus 5, you're going to get it at 29, and so on. So just remember the Masa is the one weapon there. It doesn't get better, it just gets worse. Versus all other weapons, like for example, the defense or the Sun Sword gets its extra hit at 29. Each plus is actually going to decrease the level you get the hit at. So a Sun Sword plus 5 is probably going to get its extra swing at 24, maybe 25. But roughly speaking, plus 1, minus 1 is 1 level breakpoint. So you guys don't have your weapon breakpoints done, probably memorized yet, but or almost certainly not. But just something to keep in mind with Blursing. The ones that I would think about for now are the defense, the Sun Sword, the Vorpal, and the Masa. But you can check those out in Duckling. But this is like, remember how I was saying what to focus on now, what to focus on later? This is definitely focus on later. It's not that important. For now, just memorize Masa 24, and you're good. So you check the entrance and you're like, I want my floater? Yeah, okay. Oh, other note about promotion, and this is something I learned from Crab Cakes. Not from her telling me, but from me watching her. When she promotes, she then goes buys her spells, like almost without fail. She promotes, and then she goes buys her spells. And that's just once again another thing that you don't need to remember any longer. It's mental simplification rather than mental complexity. So by promoting, then doing your armor and weapons, and then as soon as you get out, going to buy your spells, it's going to make such a big difference in terms of like your safety. The worst thing that can happen is you forget to buy your spells, and then your white mage dies, and you need your knight to have life, and you don't have it. So, oh, you got cube blocked. Okay, but yeah, so that's another like really good habit to do. Is just like promote, equip your stuff, go buy your spells for your characters. Entrance floor here, you didn't have much choice, but another reason you want to actually delay your fights a little bit, get levels a little bit later, is just because your knight's not going to get as many charges because he's already so high level. So the way promotion and spell charges work is you get levels every odd level, so 15, 17, 19, 21. But if you promote, you only get it from the point that you promote from. So here you're so high that you're only going to get limited charges unless you go up to like 30. What, you promoted at 26, so 27, 29, 31, 33. That's pretty high level. Your notepad probably looks like the scribblings of a madman. Okay, it was after I promoted I realized this is going to be the master who's going to do the game for me. Yep, that's fair. Yep. Well, actually, the knight is there for the DPS, but the knight can play a really good role too as your tank slash healer, considering he has access to life. So he can just sit there, cast defense, and be ready there to heal up while your black belt does all the damage. So the knight with life is like a really good traditional tank, like healing tank, like think like cleric class, like big beefy cleric wearing big armor, not like frail healer with who heals with water. I'm talking like healer who heals with a hammer. So we're very lost right now. Okay, you're like, hey, mermaids is here. Shit, what's to the right of what's to the right of Sea Shrine? Oh yeah, but with only one slot for anything, I was like, just stand there and punch things. Yeah, 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 that's fair. Okay, so Kaldaka's realizing what's happening. Good job, Kaldaka. Way to support your fellow duckling. I appreciate that. Um, so once again, the lesson here is to really make sure that when we're checking entrances, especially double splits, that we're always like mental register, hey, this is a split, I need to come back here and go to the other side. What I'm thinking about doing after this is I don't have other plans tonight, and I'm totally okay if people need to piece it or whatever, but I'm thinking about maybe running an entrance floor shuffle and seeing if I can get my notes on the screen, so that way people can kind of see. This was my Danny moment of swearing. Yep, use to Danny. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe to do an entrance floor shuffle seed and get my notes on the screen, and so that way you guys can see what I write down before and after. Okay, so we're doing the Marsh split first. So this is still not the Sea Shrine split, but it is improvements. Another thing is to always go the same way through the splits. So I always do top first, and then I do um, bottom, and just like other people and C Shrine, I always do right side first, and then I do left. Oh, I mean, if you want to do another, I could potentially watch too, but I kind of want to run one. I'm kind of feeling it. If we want to run the same seeds, we could do that too, but I don't know. Uh, Entrance shuffle. So Shanigan, entrance shuffle is very scary, but it's doable if you prepare properly and simplify it. In many ways, it's a more straightforward game because you're always going to be clear. You can always clear entrances in the same order. The routing decisions are actually somewhat simple in many ways. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but if you can get these simplifications that I've been talking about today, um, it can make a huge difference. Hey, we got the cube. Okay, so do you remember where cube block is? How's it going, Chanigan? GG's, by the way, on your that was a really tough one to keep going on, and I was very impressed. And considering, I saw your Chanigan join the Discord like I don't know, like a few weeks ago or something like that. That was really, really good. You're getting pretty good pretty fast. Yeah, that's totally cool too. Um, we will be doing some entrance floor during the boot camp, one of the weeks, so you'll definitely get an opportunity to practice it. And as I said, entrance floor is actually not for like I think it's week 5 of the boot camp or something like that. It's a little ways away still. So no, we slail. Oh, 3 4 days. Okay, yeah, I knew it was really really recent. You must have played some seeds before then. If that was like your second seed, you're freaking god. If I was that fast after like one race, I'd be faster than Spell Sap at this point. Okay, 4 other seats. Okay, that's still really good, but that's at least some. I just have a low sense of survivability to decide to take on one. Well, you asked for entrance floor. I wouldn't necessarily recommend entrance floor right now, but you asked for it, so I provide. This is a very introductory entrance floor flag set, to be fair. Like this is the easier side of it. Like this is like as easy as entrance floor gets. Oh, ice 3, not a good decision. If they're dead, they don't die to ice. The only thing that dies to like sorcerers resist ice, but they just have no HP. Or sorry, they just have high MDF, but like if it's undead, you don't want to cast ice. Yeah, fire 2 is better. Harm 3, harm 4, that's all fine. Okay, so we're in the Q block. We're going to the bottom. Nice. Good job with the Bizhawk. Do we? Oh, we just got the herb, didn't we? Nice. Yeah, so this is the defense sword. So at this point, you're in item go mode. You need to find Lich, and Lich is right side C. Okay. I don't really have much to comment on until you find it, so we're just gonna zip ahead a little bit here. This looks like you going to right side C. Okay, we're at right side C. Oh, small routing optimization. The middle path is slightly faster than the bottom path. Um, so yeah, something to be aware of. Where is my map? Boom. Here's Earth 4. So you can see, I don't know if you can see it on my screen. Oh, it's really small, but the middle path is 80 steps, the top path is 86, and the bottom path is 82. So just a note. Why are we checking boxes? We're literally like in go mode. Oh, God. It's okay. I forgive you. You'll know. I'm gonna get like a follow-up VOD review at some point. Actually, I would really like to do that. So like Kaldaka, Nitemare, I don't know if Weirdo's here, but if you guys want to submit another VOD review at some point, like maybe in a couple weeks, we can get into the finer details and I can be like pat be a proud papa as people a proud a proud duck boss, I guess, as people like open no boxes and all that jazz. Yeah, every step counts, man. I was 27 seconds faster. Exactly. Puff beat Sir Link-a-Lot by like 4 seconds or something crazy like that. Check all the boses. Yeah, that's fair. It does take more time and experience to like learn all the routing, so that you can do it without the boxes and with the boxes. Generally speaking, each floor you're going to want to kind of learn eventually 3 routes. I don't think about it this way, but like you want the go mode route, which is no boxes. You want the greed check route, which is like, hey, I could really use a ribbon, but I don't want to open a bunch of boxes. And then there's the open all the boxes route. I tried warp trick exit from Bahamut, even low level encounterment if it was fun. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we are done. It is time to go tackle the Temple of Fiends Revisited. So let's do our Temple of Fiends Revisited checklist. People in chat, are we ready to tackle the Temple of Fiends Revisited? So we have a level 26 fighter, we have a level 26 black belt, we have white mage and black mage. Our knight can learn nuke. We have a Masa, a defense, a power bonk, a ribbon, 2 ribbons. Can we beat Topher, and what's our strategy for it? Yeah, for sure. And ideally, it's not 4 hours long. See, that's the key. The nice thing about doing more experienced VOD reviews is that it's going to be a lot faster. Okay, I like going to pick up Night Magic. That's solid. Okay, we just go. I like it. When did we last save? I'm assuming we saved in Elfland. Where are we going? Is this just Lost in Topher, or is this I want to grind in Topher? Okay, well, chat's not giving me their answer, so I'll kind of give my answer. So we are 100% ready to go for Temple of Fiends Revisited. We are super buff. We have everything we need. We are going to be... Yeah, I agree, Septimus. Exactly. We have all the key items. We have power, defense, bonk, ribbon. Power defense, like power bonk, defense, ribbon, Masa swinging knight, level 26, can probably solo Temple of Fiends Revisited with life and cure 4. So, like, this knight is so strong. And it doesn't even need to solo it because as long as it survives every fight, it can heal all our other characters. Because remember, we only need 1 life charge on the knight to heal our white mage, and then our white mage can life up everyone else. So we are like very much ready to go, even with clamp bosses. But yeah, I agree with Septimus. The key items, of course, we need to be key item go mode. But like from an item perspective, like we're giving you on purpose all the spells you need to be able to win. Now, remember how I was saying you need to memorize, well, not memorize, but you need to learn like a go mode um, greed boxes and open all the boxes route. Well, in Topher you only need to learn 1 route, so that's the good sign. The big thing though is that if you don't, it's very very dangerous. As every extra resource you burn in here is super important. So learning the right steps here is going to be a important step in the right direction. So I once again, I'm not here to like say, hey, get better at routing, you'll get faster, because like it's pretty obvious. But learning the Topher one is definitely a higher priority one, because like this is super dangerous. You're just like burning heals, heal pots, all that jazz. On the bright side, I guess you're getting some extra grinding done. But um, the other thing, I guess, do you know your black belt breakpoints? Because we are approaching it. Yeah, I mean, you are 4 hours into, 3.5 hours into an entrance floor shuffle. Okay, so black belts. The way black belt works is quite unique. Um, Unlike people with weapons, um, when the black belt is unarmed, they work differently. The way people with weapons work is they have an inherent hit percentage, and then you add that to the weapon hit percentage, and then you divide it by some number, and that gives you how many hits you get. With the black belt instead, they get a set number of hits. They get 6 hits at level 24. They get 8 hits at level 32. They get 10 hits at level 42, and they get 12 hits at level 50. So there's very, very significant damage buffs at each of these breakpoints. So your black belt here is level 30. So you're like, oh, 21. Sorry. I knew that. Yeah, 21. I've been on the Masa train. Yeah, 21, 32, 42, 50. But your black belt is 2 levels away from a huge damage increase. It's going from 6 to 8 hits. So like a 33% increase in damage. Plus they'd be getting an additional 2 damage per hit. I think it's 2 damage per hit, but some amount of damage per level. So gaining 2 levels here would probably increase your damage by like 35-40% on your black belt. So that's going to be huge next week. And of course, we're going to cover this in the Duckling Bootcamp. But that's before you play black belt, those level caps are really, really important. Now, my golden rule of Temple of Fiends Revisited in terms of grinding is that if you're not high enough level, whoa. If you're not high enough level before you enter, you're not high enough level to go. Maybe you can count on getting the levels from the Fiends. But generally speaking, if you need one more level, grind before you go in. Because if you wipe, it's so much slower to grind on your way back through. So, if your fighter's level 23, sure, you can take a couple fights to get him to 24. But like if your fighter's level 21, you definitely don't want to. So that's just a note. The other note, you can disrespect Lich for in a lot of ways, mostly in terms of his damage output. But the one thing you can't do is not heal before you fight Lich. You get nuked here, you could just die. So Lich doesn't punch very hard at the scaling, but he can still cast nuke. So the one thing you always want to do before any of the fiend fights is heal. Heal all your characters to max AP, or at least your life casters. I like this. The Quake's a little bit cheeky, but that's fine. You also have like so much healing. You have heal pots, you have heal 3, you have heal 2, you have all the jazz. So like there's no excuse really to not be healing here. If you wipe here, it's like terrible. So it's not terrible if you wipe on the bosses, but if you wipe in like a excusable way, as a duckling, I don't think you're so worried about going like eking out every extra second that like the 30 seconds it would take to heal is worth the danger of doing this. Holy smokes. This is like crazy risky. Brack, very low effectiveness against carry here. I saw it on the chart, but I want to say it's like less than 10%. Probably, yeah. So Brack's definitely not what you're looking for here. Um, the biggest damage buff you can do here is fast on either your black belt or your knight. Alternatively, you can go swing, swing, nuke, fade, but carry, even clamped, is probably speed and power strats. So I wouldn't generally try and insta-death bosses as your primary plan. Now, something that I was talking about in the forums earlier is like having yeah, 7%? Yeah, maybe something like that. But like having a primary plan and then having backup plans. And your primary plan here is to punch and nuke and fade carry down. That's definitely your primary plan. Your backup plan, maybe if you're down to a solo black mage, might be like insta-death and hope for the 7% or whatever. But like you're in much better shape if you just commit to your primary plan, and if it fails, have a backup plan. I would not be using Cure 4 to heal. So once again, heal spell selection there. Cure 4 is super, super valuable. It is the most valuable healing spell. Even using heal 3 would be better than that because you want as many charges as possible of Cure 4 for your high HP melee characters. After you get nuked or they get punched, you want Cure 4 available. You could definitely use like heal 3 instead, or just use heal pots. Okay, so what's our plan against Kraken here? So Kraken has minimum 900 HP here and maximum 1800. Average roll is like 136 or something like that. So Kraken's going to not be easy to speed and power down. You might want to go slightly defensive, or you could just go pure offense, but let's see what you do. Okay, so you don't decide to reorder your party. That's okay, but I would probably move my Black Mage here, my Fighter slot 2, my Black Belt slot 3. The Black Mage can basically die after it gets a fast or two off, ideally, but even if it gets nothing off, you can still win. Your life casters are important, and your primary damage dealer. That's of note. Also, keep in mind another option here would be to use defense on your knight in slot 1 and go all in on damage on your black belt with fast. So if you went defense on your knight, and he just tries to stay alive so that way he can cast life after the fact, and then your primary damage dealer is your back belt. And then your backup strategy is if your black belt dies, you can cast fast on your knight, and then your knight becomes your primary damage dealer. So that's a couple different things you could try. Um, Invis 2 on your white mage is probably a good idea here rather than Fade because I don't think you're going to kill it fast enough. So I guess my turn 1, if I was going to leave it in this order, maybe defense, swing or power bonk if you have it, fast, and invis 2. So that will get your knight up to 3 stacks of evade on turn 1, which is pretty good. Let's see what you do. Okay, fast, nice. And invis 2. So the only difference between what I said and what you're doing is that I think you're swinging with your knight instead of casting defense. But that 170 damage is probably better off spent being defensive because this Kraken is capped. If he's not capped, like if he's not 100% minimum HP, you can probably go just pure speed and power for most deck flags. Kraken's not punching that hard though, so at this point, after seeing that pretty low punch, I would just go pure offense because like he's not going to really kill you. But if you had defense first turn, your knight would be in much better shape at this point. Okay, I like the heal 3 there. The heal 3 is good because both your life casters were one shot by nuke, so heal 3 is a good decision. Okay, good stuff. Get through Kraken. So yeah, you're like so close to that black belt breakpoint. If your black belt's going to be your primary damage dealer, you really, really want it to be level 32. Because once again, we're talking one level for like a 35% damage increase. Okay, so on Tiamat, generally speaking, you want to. He's gonna punch a little bit less hard, but he has even more HP, so speed and power strats are even more risky. Um, this would probably be another situation where I would recommend like defense and Viz 2, swing fast, or something like that. I don't rearrange my knight generally to the second slot if it's really well armored. Um, ooh, I like the wall cast actually. That's a really nice play. I don't usually rearrange my knight because he can usually take a punch or two without it being too big of a deal. Yeah, if you wanted to go full defense here, you could even cast Invis 2, White Shirt, Fast, and Wall turn 1. That's another option that you have here. So there's lots of options, but just like have a plan. What's my plan? Am I going to go defensive? Am I going to go pure offense? Or am I going to do a mix? Who's my main damage dealer? Those are kind of the questions you're going to have to ask yourself. But you have 2 ribbons, so you should be okay for walls. And see, that was one of your last Cure 4s, which is something that's really bad considering you have Chaos coming up. So that's why using some other thing to heal would have been better, like heal pots, for example, or heal 2s. I would definitely be saving those tempers for later. Yeah, fire 3 is fine. Evasion stacking is very high. So one thing I haven't seen you use very much is the um, yeah, thank you, Septimus. 31 to 32 is a 37.6% increase in damage, which is huge for one level. I really, yeah, definitely. Something that I was just about to comment on is that you're not using your item magic at all, and I purposely gave you busted item magic. Like power bonk is busted, defense is busted. Not using them is a major disadvantage. Like against clamp bosses, this chaos has minimum 2,000 HP and maximum 4,000 HP. Um, if you have to play defensive against that, you can't try and burn him down. And the defense is the fastest way for your black belt to get his evade up. Also, if you want to kill him faster using the power bonk, um, will make him kill it even faster. So like defense turn 1, defense turn 2, while 2 characters use white shirts turn 1 will get you to max evade on your black belt, and then he can power bonk while your black mage starts fasting. Your black mage is already fast, lock, etc., and then you're going to kill chaos on turn 4 or 5. Yeah, for sure. Forgetting that items have magic, not the end of the world, especially considering so many of them are broken and various things like that. But just like some general things to keep in mind. Man, I want to play Engine's Floor Shuffle now. I'm definitely going to do a seed. Oh, A. We remembered to move the dragon armor. Oops. User RMS. Kaldaka. Rude. Correct, but rude. Well, okay, not correct that you're a mess, but like rude. EG shuffle? What the heck's EG shuffle, Reese? Or is that just the fact that G's next to F on the keyboard? Correct, yes. Proximity play. Okay, so we're taking on Chaos. Fast is a good decision. We're just swinging away. So yeah, I would definitely be playing more defensive here. Like that was 400 damage, which means Chaos is going to get 4 to 5. Oh no, maybe not that many, but like at least 4 or 5 turns. Um, so like yeah, that's really I would definitely be going more defensive here with Clamp Boss HPs. Uh, I was disrespecting the F like a disrespect lich. Yeah, Reese and I were having a little bit of a conversation on Discord about healing before him. I just gave the advice to heal before Lich, but Reese is like, nah, I disrespect him. And like, he's right like 99%. Oh, okay, maybe not that often. 95% of the time, you're going to be totally fine disrespecting Lich. But whoa, where are your, who are your ribbons on? Was that a just unlucky or was that ribbon misplacement? Because your ribbon should definitely at this point be on, uh, or crack. Your ribbons at this point should almost certainly be on your white mage and your fighter. You could put one on your black belt, but if you put on your black belt, you need to make sure that the black belt's also wearing like opal bracelet and stuff. Yeah. Your black mage does not matter for this fight. Your black mage gets off fast, has done everything he needs to do. But your primary melee damage dealers are who you need to protect at all costs. So if you have one ribbon, it goes on whoever your plan is for the primary melee damage dealer. And yeah, Master being naked is okay. So in that case, the ribbon should be on your fighter and your white mage. Um, and then you should probably be fasting and tempering and all that stuff on your knight. Because your knight has an Aegis shield and a dragon armor, I mean, of course that doesn't work against crack, but you could also put your ribbon and your opal bracelet on your black belt because you promoted early. But I think I would just go all in on the fighter to be honest. I'd ribbon him, defense, power bonk, and like your knight could probably just kill this chaos by himself after getting fasted once. Temper is going to do way more damage here than Nuke will. So Temper's a better call. Invis 2's okay though. And we get through. GG's. Yeah, ribbons are only crack protection. Unfortunate. Um. So yeah, overall, well, Temper's stack. So unlike Fast, Temper's stack. You can cast as many temper. Well, I think they cap out eventually, but like you can just keep on tempering to infinity. Yeah. Fast you cast once, but temper you just keep going. Every time it's like 14 or 16 damage or something like that, which is huge when you're getting 8 punches. Yeah. So you can definitely keep on tempering. Okay, so things to keep in mind. Have a win condition, especially in the duckling seeds from the very beginning, and then play to that win condition. If your win condition is fighter, then you're only opening boxes maybe for some armor and maybe for some early gold. But outside of that, that's all you really need. We've talked about tents, exit, warp. So those are things I think that you're definitely going to improve on. And then a little bit about the party. Like we kind of mentioned, like having 2 melee damage dealers here, probably not necessary. An extra black magic caster would have helped a lot in the early game. Or even a red mage here because it would have had fade and life. So it would have been really, really powerful. Lots of little things that we discussed as well. You learned a couple things about like temper and routing, little like step things, but in general, those are the things. If I was going to say one thing to work on for the next seed, it's just have your win condition in mind from the very beginning, and then just work towards that. And if things go wrong, things go wrong, and like you'll learn to adjust on the fly. But like start with a starting point of like, what's my win condition going to be? How am I going to win this game? And then work towards that while also realizing how am I progressing, which, as you said, is just opening incentive boxes in the seed. So yeah, GG's the Nightmare Phoenix. Great job. I'm very proud of you for tackling Entrance Floor Shuffle in this early in your Final Fantasy randomizer career. So good job.